Well, there goes the Daverhood. I'm just trying to mask the sound of the gardeners and the leaf blowers outside. It was funny last week when we did the show, and even all week long with Joyce, my darling and adorable wife, working from home. It just is maddening from 8 o'clock in the morning out here in suburbia. There's a and wouldn't you know that I tuned in last week to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and there was literally a question in one of their quizzes about this incredible noise that suburbans were complaining about that has been going on the same way for years and years, of the people, the gardeners with their leaf blowers, making this enormous noise with these machines. And nobody complained about it because people, they were out. And they'd go in the office 5 days a week while this was happening. But now with people starting work at 8:15 in the morning and strolling up with their cup of coffee, suddenly they're trying to concentrate, they're trying to start their day, and then trying to get into a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet, and hi, you can hear it literally outside. It's kind of far away at the moment, but it's still a little, you can maybe get it in the background, like the FBI, if they were listening in for some reason, if they were listening to the chatter of this program, and basically that's what this program is chatter. They would literally have to get those experts that you see on like NCIS or something, the geeks at the computers with the tape, and then they have to, or the digital files. And so, well, we can isolate the sound, but we have to push the leaf blowers down into the mix.
I was giving a presentation to a rural aging network, and no one could hear each other because of my stuff and their poor connection.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and 9 months into this, well, 8.5 months.
There's no reason why gardeners should be doing gardening. There's nothing to do.
Yeah, right. It is late November.
It's such a money scam.
Well, wait. I mean, the lawns do look nice.
See,
What?
The lawns are dead. If it takes you an hour to blow leaves off of a yard the size of a postage stamp, you got problems.
Well, first you gotta, and it seems like I remember having to rake leaves when I was in my teens and my 20s.
It's just a rip off. It's a rip off of the.
Well, it's a time suck. It takes a half hour to go with this blower, and it blows here, and then it blows there, and then it blows here. Gotta get them all into a nice little pile.
One gardener blows on another lawn, and then he calls the gardener and said, "Look, I just blew the leaves on your yard."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Okay, you get your friends, and you come to this yard, and we just blew the leaves here."
But let me tell you something. With this gardener blowing leaves here and blowing there, maybe a scam. Maybe some of them are working together. So if you find one gardener who does a good blow job, you are then you should really pay them well. I think this is true. I do. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, by the way. This program is Dave's Gone By.
It's a dirty program.
It's not a dirty program. What I was talking about gardening. This is this is my. You've heard of Crockett's Victory Garden? This is Dave's Victory Garden right here on this Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, radio programmio of the stream, with my darling, adorable wife, Joyce, me, with, oh, goodness, how do I do this? This is why people don't wear undershirts under T-shirts, because you can actually see. Well, thank you, darling. I'll just push that over under
Show
there.
them what your shirt says.
Oh, yeah, this is cool. I'm actually wearing my wife's shirt, which I don't know what that says about our marriage, but look, here we go. Look, looks like I have boobs.
I can't see it. It's
Yeah, it's a delay. Wait a couple of seconds, you'll see it. Out of office. Just got this very cool. Where did this shirt come from, actually? Did you buy it or a Target? Very nice, very nice. But I normally don't have man boobs. I've got a belly. I'm a middle-aged Jewish man, so there's some. I won't say junk in the trunk. There's junk in the suitcase in front of me. But I normally don't look like I have man boobs.
At least like a small A, nearly B.
Oh, that's my cup. A small. I'm pushing B.
Small A, nearly B. I need to write.
I'm pushing for a tricot with lifting, supporting, and separating.
Your boobs are uneven.
They're not uneven. I do not have uneven man boobies.
I have to write on the back of this. I'm going to use this envelope to write your fans.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, because we're here every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts doing the Dave's Gone By program, which mixes humor and chatter and culture and interviews and all that kind of cool stuff. We've been doing it since 2002, which makes
Where's
this
the noise machines?
yeah, our 773rd episode of the show.
Where's the one that has the whistle?
It's probably still behind you. We're calling this one Go Crazy, Lenny. So fans of comedy, well, if you're a real fan of comedy, you won't be watching this show, but fans of stand-up comedy
No, I can't hear.
and the history of comedy, there we go. Will remember this man. If you were watching television, especially in like the 1970s,
God.
you'll remember this fella, Lenny. Now, not Lenny Bruce, who I always thought was kind of, at least I always thought his material was overrated, even if the boundaries that he pushed were not. But this is a very different Lenny. Back in the 1970s, this guy who was a high school physical education teacher in New York, he knew that he was funny, and he knew that he was physical and that he could control his body very, very well. He was a phys ed teacher, had been in the military, a fellow named Lenny Schultz. And so he started doing funny stuff, and then he was pushed to go and do it in public and to do it in comedy clubs. And he ended up being like a guy who relentlessly killed whenever he had a set. I mean, he went into his classrooms and killed his students. I mean that he went on stage and just nobody wanted to follow him. The best comedians of their time, or the comedians who were on their way up at the time, did not want to follow Lenny Schultz. A, because he was very funny. B, the audience was rolling, and he was so physical. Didn't
he have a leaf blower?
Joyce says, didn't he have a leaf blower? He wouldn't have a leaf blower. He would imitate a leaf blower.
Oh, wow.
That would be his kind of thing. And he would just have the audience in stitches because it was just so precise and yet so manic and wild and crazy. And you end up seeing him on TV. And again, no comedian would want to follow that because of the energy in the room. Because you're following this, and now you're just telling jokes. It's very, very difficult. It's like, who would want to follow Robin Williams? That kind of thing. Well, Lenny even preceded Robin Williams a little bit with his stuff, although he was post Jonathan Winters and a lot of vaudeville comedians. But Lenny, and I hadn't thought about him for a long, long time. There's one. Sorry?
What made you think of that?
Well, we were watching, Joyce and I, we've been watching Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. And two separate times, they're probably taped in the same week, Jerry Seinfeld is talking to a couple of comedians on the show, remembering the old times, talking about comedy, which is my favorite part of the program. And twice in the conversation, they're like, remember Lenny Schultz? And it's like, oh my God, nobody wanted to follow Lenny Schultz. Lenny was killing. He was crazy. We were just sitting in the back and yell, go crazy, Lenny. And it made me like, Lenny Schultz, yes. I remember, I thought, and I started looking up old YouTube clips of him. And the scene, one where he's dressed as a chicken. There's another where it's hysterical, still hysterical. Whereas this old Italian woman in a raincoat sitting in a restaurant trying to eat spaghetti. And just spaghetti's going flying. If you get a chance to watch this, it's still that there's a moment, there's a priceless, iconic comedy moment. If you put it in an Instagram meme, it would get 10 million views because it's just perfectly timed, perfectly done. Any comedian would just give up everything to have a moment like that. And Lenny Schultz had like 2 or 3 or 4 in his work. He was in the 1980s redo of Laugh-In, or maybe it was the 1990s. He tried a couple of sitcoms. Those didn't really pan out too well. I mean, he was a secondary character. He never became a star comedian or a star comic actor, possibly because he spent still most of his time teaching high school gym while he was on the rise, while he was doing, Catch a Rising Star and Caroline's and all these places. He was still having a full-time day job. because he was a Jewish boy who was not going to risk everything, right? Is, oh, you gotta get a job, gotta pay for the wife and kids, gotta have the benefit. Well, back then benefits didn't matter, but still, you had to do this. And like, I'm going to do comedy, but it's such a risky thing. Well, we'll be talking to Lenny Schultz just a little bit later in the program and ask him, at a certain point when he was becoming kind of big, certainly in the club circuit, when he could have put together whatever a Vegas type show would have been back then, or he could have had kept at it and found a recurring role and become something like a Michael Richards, where he doesn't become a star alone, but he gets on a.
Where he says racist things and offends people.
Well, that was the other funny thing about Lenny Schultz that I never knew, is that you saw him on TV, and the material was clean, completely clean, and still really physical and slapstick and funny. Apparently, in the clubs, he was dirty too, which unfortunately that's gone. That we don't get to see. But maybe he'll talk a little bit about that. Unfortunately, I will not be talking to Lenny Schultz on the program, but the great, the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sol Solomon will. So yeah, two Jews in a room. How soon do you think the Holocaust will come up? But Rabbi Sol will be talking to Lenny Schultz, who is alive and who is apparently
well. You're talking to him.
well, I mean, he's in his mid-80s, right?
That doesn't mean anything.
But because he was in such good physical condition,
Like Richmond Shepherd.
Exactly. Richmond, I think, lived until 89 or 91, when he thought, Richmond Shepherd is a longtime friend of the Daverhood, a theater critic, a theater owner, producer, playwright. He, the publisher for 10 years of Performing Arts Insider, just this polymath individual, a longtime friend of mine, who kept telling me, I've told this story on the air, but he kept telling me, he practiced something called subud, which I have no idea what the hell that is. And he felt a direct conduit to some kind of spirit in the universe. That's how he was a Jewish guy, but that was his spirituality. He practiced this meditation prayer thing called subud. And he would say, I checked in with the greater spirit, and I'm going to die when I'm like 84. So that's what he tell me. It's like I got 2 years left. Told me when he's in the early 80s, 84, I'll check out of this place. And then he'd be 85 years old. I remember. And I said, Richmond, whatever happened with that? Did you have a wrong connection with God? And he said, no, I talked to him again. And this time he said, I'll live to 86. He would keep having these other conversations. I ended up living about 6 years beyond what he was initially told by the universe that he would live. And because he was in such good physical condition, he had, not because he had, but he had a stroke in his late 70s, early 80s that he recovered from about 99%, which someone who was not a mime and an actor and so careful about his physical control might not have come back that way. He lived about 10 years after that stroke. Yes, he became frail, very frail in his late 80s. And, it would take him, 10 minutes to get across a New York street with his cane. And he'd have to.
Did he die at 84?
Climbing. No, he died. He made it either to 89 or 91. So in those last 2 years, I saw him a few months before he died. And he was, he got old. But he was still living by himself. Although he had this young woman, he always had women in his life. This young woman would help him, and living alone in his apartment on like 57th Street or 59th Street, one of those places on the west side. So it's not like he was in this protected little bubble. I mean, he was a New Yorker, right? And I think Lenny Schultz was kind of the same way. He's in his mid-80s, but I get the feeling, yeah, he's slowing down. He's getting older, of course, but he's not. When you think, 86 years old, where's the male nurse who comes and changes his diapers? It's not like that, or I hope, we'll find out. If we suddenly hear in the middle of Rabbi Sol's interview with Lenny Schultz, hold on a minute, nurse, then we'll know. Or that could also happen to me. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. You're watching Dave's Gone By. We usually start the program with our intro, which sounds like this.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood. And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
Yeah, David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's gone by. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there it goes, the Daverhood live on this November 21st, 2020, the November just before the Thanksgiving weekend, and also, of course, yeah, the last weekend before we all die of coronavirus. But we're taking precautions here in the Daverhood on this Saturday morning. I mean, we try and be careful every Saturday morning, although with my brain in my mouth, that goes out the window, but health precautions. So, ladies and gentlemen, Joyce has taken it upon herself to be something of the Florence Spuddingale of our house, protecting these fellas who come from the Vegetable Friends bag.
From China, so they might have been exposed.
Oh, good, yeah, this potato here was made in China. It literally says it right here on the tag. It does what it says on the tin. Can you see that? Made in China, this potato was, as are all his friends that we have here. And we don't want him to get blight, pardon me. We don't want him to get and we certainly don't want him to develop coronavirus or anything like that. So Joyce has been nonstop this morning making masks for our potatoes. So
Some of my
let me get the whole group of them. Look at this.
There might be more on the bed. I can't see.
Because we have a lot of potatoes, and they're going to need a lot of masks as the third wave of the virus is happening, as we're getting closer and closer to a lockdown. They can't, these poor guys, even now, they can't go to a restaurant after 10 o'clock at night and get ketchup. What? Oh, you need masks? Yeah. Here, check them out. Look at these. But what's going to happen is we're going to put this over potato's nose, just like this. Yeah, why did I do this on the air? This would be really cool. Let me just have the tape real quick.
Okay, well, you gotta just take each.
Because I've got to do this around. Let's see how this works. Now, do I tape it first and then put it over him, or do I put it? Oh, yeah. Because Joyce, I have no art skills whatsoever, no physical ability to do anything. But Joyce is putting the mask on potatoes. This is not a ceremonial mask, by the way. These potatoes have very big and prominent noses and very wide mouths. So there's a ton of places where either they could take in saliva and microscopic spray, or let it out when they're singing or laughing or screaming, as potatoes tend to do. So Joyce is right now doing the ceremonial taping of the potato to keep him safe during these insane times. Oh, he looks, it's a little uneven, but oh my, look at him. I'm going to pull this around just a little bit. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. Potato, how is that feeling on you? Is it, potato, you can move your mouth. Your mouth is one-dimensional on your face. Hi, see? Now, how do you feel? Oh, it's nice and warm. That's right, you're feeling your own breath come back at you. What does your breath smell like? Vodka? Well, that's, because potatoes make vodka. And so, potato, do you feel safer now? Do you feel like you're going to withstand the virus that has killed like 250,000 people? And I've got no joke coming off this. I'm just vamping. But I feel good. You know that I would. Are you going to sing the whole song before I think of a joke? Probably. I feel fine. Like potato wine. Yeah. Catch up. I need you. Ah. Well, that's me. Well, see, the problem with, notice what happened to the mask when he was doing his song. Yeah, this is, the Polish potatoes kind of tend to wear the mask like this.
Well, you know,
We have to work on that,
You
but
gotta give him some help, David. Give him some instruction.
yeah, no, the mask goes over the nose. Honestly, I cannot tell you how many people, when I go
Yeah.
shopping, I went yesterday to a bodega, because it's literally the only friggin' place to get anything like food remotely near where I
Like
work.
food or food?
Food. I mean, it's a, excuse me, it's a market, and it's also, they have delicious, turns out, food in those trays that they leave out, like you have at chafing dishes and you have at buffets. So I work in a school district, but in a small school type building that is near nothing, right? I can't, it's going to be, when it starts snowing out, and I can't go anywhere, it's just going to feel unbelievably isolated. Because it's not like you can walk 3 blocks, even on Long Island, and just get a sandwich if you forget to bring one from home. Or what happened last week, I brought meatballs from home, and then I opened up the container of meatballs and saw there was mold growing on 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ate the other ones. I didn't eat the ones with a mold on it. And then so I was, oh crap, I gotta go out and find someplace to eat. And driving around and trying to thought I saw this place or that place. So I find, one place, great, not a restaurant, not a fast food place, just this place where you can get milk and bread and soda and iced tea and prepared foods that they do. I was like, oh, wonderful, right? And I go in, and I went in yesterday. I thought, okay, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to have, and I did, man. Think about this. This is one of the great things about New York. Not even New York City, but just living in kind of different communities and ethnic communities. They had, rice and chicken and rice and that. And I was, what's that? Not even popo. And it was hard to understand him because he did have a mask on.
They're probably Dominican. They're not Mexican.
Yeah, they were Dominican. Yeah, I'm saying they were Dominican.
Your accent's Mexican.
Any point, can you do a Dominican accent?
I can, but I won't.
Okay, but so I'm like, what is that? Because I thought it looked like something that I knew.
Is it popo?
No, he said is gizzard. I'm like, whoa! He had chicken gizzards over rice, which is nothing you're going to find in Food Town. It's nothing you're going to find in a Stop and Shop.
That is nothing you're going to find.
You're not going to find that in Chipotle, and you're not going to find that in Arby's. The new gizzard sandwich. We have the next. It's like, no, it's so. I'm like, yes, but while I'm there, there's a guy in the store, and I remember it's a tiny little bodega market. Bodega market. Yeah, and so the width of the place, the size of the place is like from here to here on your screens. Okay, it's a small, narrow place with shelves because they got to stock all this stuff that people in the neighborhood might just want to run in and buy real quick. And this guy is in the store, kind of probably 50s, 60s-year-old guy, no mask, no nothing. I mean, not even the pretense of having like the mask hanging from his ear to prove, hey, I have a mask. I'm not necessarily wearing it, but just in case a policeman comes, I'll put it. No, nothing. And I'm like, I don't even know if he speaks English. I don't even know, and this is not my neighborhood. This is not my place. And I'm probably like a strange white guy coming into this place. I'm telling you. This is not the neighborhood where I'm like, I stride in like Jewish white guy. I've grown up here. I know everybody and everybody knows me. Even if they don't, they feel like they know me because I'm a Jewish white guy. No, this is like somewhere else. I am someone else. I'm an outsider on their turf, but I'm hungry. I want to buy something. So it is not for me to go up to this guy and start a fight and say, ¿Dónde está su máscara? Yeah, I think that is the word for it, but or I don't know. I don't know the Dominican word. El masco. Yeah. Donde su nariz, su boca están Abiertos. What? You know? But, you know, I just kept shut. And then I'm going like this with my hand over my mask, just to be like, you know, not to even make a show of him or to embarrass. I'm just like, I want an extra layer over my mask if I'm going to be near this guy within much, much fewer than 6 feet. You know, him just walking around breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And the guy at the counter, you know, forget the nose was open. You know, the drippings from the nose, those could be going into all the food. He's got the mask down here. And by the way, if you think I'm making fun of Dominicans or you think I'm making fun of another culture, that's exactly what I was going to say. Because Joyce loves it when I make fun of Jews.
I do not. I don't like it when you single out a group in your race.
That's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to single out 2 groups. Back in March, when the pandemic, pandemic actually started back in like November last year, but when it started for realsies in America, and when we had the lockdown, first week or two, you know, I thought, oh, well, let me go buy deli for my family. So we go to the local deli, and I'm not talking like a bodega deli, I'm talking like a Jewish local deli with pastrami and corned beef and roast beef and knishes and that sort of thing. So I go in, and remember, this is like late March. Everybody's freaking terrified. Everybody's like, doesn't know what the hell's going to happen. And I go in with my mask and my tie mask and everything. And they've got the guy working there who owns the place. Very, very nice guy. And he's a behemoth. The guy's got to be 6'9", like not bad looking, but he's just a lurch kind of a guy.
That's not bad. That's not good looking.
And he's got the mask, and it's like here, or sometimes it's just over the mouth, but the nose is completely exposed. And because he's so enormously tall and big, it's like he's always looking down on everything he's making, right? So much more likely that the juices of his face are just going straight downward into everything he's making or putting, you know, rye bread on top of or covering. And especially when he's leaning over the counter, this high counter, to talk to you and to take your credit card and to say, do you have everything? And while he's saying, do you have everything? Like the mask is moving like this. So his mouth is like covered, not covered, covered, not covered. I'm like, oh man, he's gotten better. I think he's had to. But, you know, if you wonder why New York is gonna spike again, despite our taking a lot of precautions over the past half a year, it's just this sort of like, just people. What is so hard about it? It sucks, you know. I don't want to, one of the things I did not really want to do in this new job that I've been working for 3 months now was wear a mask for 8 straight hours a day. It would be tremendously uncomfortable. I would probably get some sort of skin irritation. It would be, you know, the hot breath back on me, back and forth. It would just be awful. And thank goodness I work in a building where literally it's this, you know, 1-story but fairly big building, and there's 5 people in it at most at any given time, and 3 people, maybe 4 in our room at any given time. I just got so completely lucky with that. And I've got my space, I've got my desk, and there ain't nobody within 6 feet of my desk. And if they do, on goes the mask for 10, 15 minutes if it's a meeting or something. Other than that, mask off. You know, if I go out in the hall to go to the bathroom or something, mask on, 2, 3, 5 minutes, back to my desk, mask off. And it keeps me sane. And it's just, you know, I feel bad for factory people, for anybody who's literally all day long mask on. And that's millions of people now. And my hat is off to them, and it's what they should be. My hat stays on to them. All right, very good, potato. I get it, but it's just, you know, it's the times that we're in. But all this is apropos of saying, folks, yeah, wear your damn masks, please. If you're around any other, not if you set out foot outside your door, in your driveway, if you know you're not going to be near any people, all right. Or you keep it hanging over your ear, and if you see someone 12 feet away, by the time they get to 10 feet away, just pull it back on, walk near them, let them pass, take the damn thing off, And I don't care if you're Dominican or Black or Orthodox Jewish, what the hell is so much to ask for people to do that,
It should be everybody, man, all people.
If everybody really did it day after day after day, we will see, we'll still, a pandemic, people will still get sick.
See an increase after the holidays if people have gatherings.
Yeah, I don't know.
Once we have like family parties, one wedding in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
it said spread love, not germs, and then at that wedding, 83 people got corona, including the bride and groom.
Yeah, well, maybe they were all wearing masks, and still
No,
the proximity of people
Yeah.
is going to do it. I mean, it's hair.
It's proximity, but it's length of time too.
That's true also. That's why when I go into a store or something and there's the idiot like I saw yesterday, I was near him. I mean, he left the store within a minute after I was next to him being there. It's not like I hung with him and played dice or something like that. It's just like he was there, I was there. He passed by me too close, and okay, get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to just buy my food and go. I wasn't around him. I'm hoping for long enough to get any kind of terrible disease that he was going to convey to me. But I gotta tell. What else do we want to talk about on this episode of the Day of Gone By Facebookio Podcastio program, which, by the way, we're calling Go Crazy, Lenny, because Lenny Schultz is going to be with us in just a little while. He'll be talking to Rabbi Sol Solomon. Also on the program, Greeley Crimes Old Times. We will have a Wretched Pun of Destiny, a new Wretched Pun, and a Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And even though, again, Broadway is going to be quiet for months on end, we do have an Inside Broadway segment of Broadway news. And, well, that'll do us. That'll be quite a show. Ooh. And our Today Yesterday quiz, which is a trivia quiz, should be a lot of fun, featuring our friends David Sheward, Leslie Hoban Blake, and our old friend of the Daverhood and a very good friend of Rabbi Sol, Richard Shore, will be playing against David and Leslie in the trivia game. And of course, you guys can play against them at home. Do we have any people to say hi to? Because I see some names that Joyce has been writing down. Let's see what we got.
We're sleepy today.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got Dave B. and Mark and Daniel and Stephen and Dave. Oh, David from my high school and Warhol, of course.
There's like 3 Davids.
And a David S. My goodness. I'm David L. We've got a Dave B. and a David S. Wow. So you keep the Daves coming. This is the Daverhood that you are watching here on this Saturday morning. I wanted to tell you the kind of thing that goes through my head. And it's that another thing that that I picked up from watching comedians in cars getting coffee was missing out on a moment of comedy and wishing you could go back and change it. So another comedian was talking about Will Ferrell. Or was it Will Ferrell?
Yes, at the roast when Prince didn't get the award. Yeah.
Right. But was it Ferrell talking about himself, or was it someone talking about Ferrell?
I think it was Eddie Murphy saying that Will Ferrell was going to do it, but he didn't.
Yeah. Well, it was the Grammy Awards or the Oscars or something like that. Some big awards ceremony. And Will Ferrell was there for another reason. He was nominated for something. And so Prince, the Minneapolis dead singer guy, won an award. And Prince,
the artist formerly known as Alive, won an award. And he wasn't apparently there, but people weren't sure if he was there or not. So it was this weird delay when his name was announced. And people were kind of waiting, for him to come up to the dais and do his thing and give a speech. And they didn't know he was there, he was not there. And you got to he was not going to be there, and they didn't have somebody planned to come out and say. So it flashed through Will Ferrell's mind to go up there as Prince, completely straight-faced, and do it, right? And just get up there as if, and just walk up there, have the camera follow, and thank the Academy on behalf of himself, of Prince, and then make an exact kind of speech that Prince would make,
but it would just be Will Ferrell, and then walked out, which would, as they said, would be a perfect Will Ferrell comedy moment. And they actually have footage of the camera on Will Ferrell for no particular reason. And you can see he's like, he wants to jump out of his chair. He's urging himself to do it, and he knows that he's got maybe a 3-second window with which to make the decision. And he doesn't. He lets the moment go. He who hesitates is lost. And it would have been an absolutely classic award show comedy moment.
And they said it would have been played over all the time.
It would be still a meme. It would be on YouTube with 12 million views. He didn't do it, So that moment was lost for him forever. It's a regret on his regret column. And it's lost for the world for not being able to see that.
Is dead, so he'll never have the opportunity.
Yeah, I guess somebody else can do it.
Or unless he gets Lifetime Achievement Award or something, and then he goes up and does it.
Yeah, or if he does it for another star. If suddenly at some point Lady Gaga wins an award and she's stuck on the highway and Will Ferrell happens to be in the audience again, there's a Lady Gaga. I mean, he just takes like maybe the
he should do it for everybody.
leftover steak that's on his plate and puts.
Anybody who can't show up, he just
He becomes a designated person who's playing all the other people. Actually, that's a great award show idea. When people can't make it, you really have like an impersonator or somebody dressed up as them.
Or you just have like the same person, like you have Will Ferrell both doing it.
But if it's a girl, you put them in a dress, just like the actress would have worn. So you really go whole hog with it. But I had a moment like that I didn't do yesterday, even though it came to me late. It was too late for me to be able to do it. But we were yapping together in the office, and we're just talking about stuff, and as we do, it's like around lunchtime, and so it's been so crazy busy with what we do. We work in a school district. It's been so nuts that it isn't until right now, this time of year, that we have a little bit of a breather where our boss can come and talk with us for 20 minutes just to shoot the breeze, because we just can't.
What time Lenny Bruce will join?
About 10 o'clock. So we're coming in, we're yapping, and one of my coworkers tells the story about her car. And this is going back a year or two, or it wasn't recent, I don't think. But she's in her car. Turns out she notices it's kind of like a weird smell, but it comes and goes, right? So she's driving, she smells it, she opens the window, it's gone, blah, blah, blah. And this goes on for a couple of days where, she gets in the car, it's like, ooh, that's an odd smell. And she'll forget, she won't notice, and then at another moment, oh, that's a weird, and it gets worse, right? Worse and worse. So she doesn't know what's going on, brings it to the mechanic, who pops the hood open on the thing, and he's like, oh no, get back. Because what had happened was, it was cold weather. It was the first bit of cold, so maybe it was pretty recent that this happened. And to keep warm, a local stray cat had crawled somehow into the interstices. It is. It happens to a lot of people. Well, she didn't have to. That's the cat had somehow crawled in and could not get out. So now you've got a cat like under the hood. It's decomposing. And because of the way the motor and the stuff, it's been like chopped into bits. And it's all over like.
When we were in Florida, my cousin wanted to be a vet, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
So she had cats and dogs and horses and everything. And the kittens had babies, and every morning, this is Florida, so it wasn't cold, but at night it was cold, and my grandfather would get out in the morning and open up the what do you call that car? The wagon. The
station wagon.
Station wagon. Yeah. Open it up, open the hood, and check for kittens and count them.
Just in case, right? Yeah. And you don't think you have to do, but and also it was like that farm area. He had to check for horses. You have to open that hood and see, because the car runs on horsepower. You've got to be very careful.
I did find a baby robin who was almost drowned in the horse's trough thing.
Yeah.
And I called my cousin and we took it out. We kept it in the bathroom, And let's just say it was a mean bird and it pooped a lot. It wasn't a good save, no.
It's basically what you did with me. But here's the deal, though. So she's telling the story, and it's just like this horrible. It cost her. She had some other work that needed to be done on the car, but it was like $2,000 to do that and to clean up like cat blech from the engine, from the thing, from just because it's pumping, it gets hot and it melts the cat.
You just hose it down.
I think it takes a little more than that. You got to peel guts.
Oh, David, don't say that. It's too early.
So I'm hearing this story, and they already know me well enough where my boss is like, "Oh, Dave, this story will appeal to you."
That's sad. That's really sad.
But it only occurred to me hours later what I could have done on top of that. It's not a joke. It was a real story.
Yeah.
Was it just, this is how my mind works. It's like, can you imagine? Because the real tragedy of this cat, who crawled in there to get warm, never crawled out again, is that cats have, are supposed to have 9 lives. So you can figure the cat went in there with 7 lives left.
Oh.
And the car starts in the morning, kills the, it's like, oh, that's all right, I got 6 left. But each time it's like the motor starts, and cat gets down to like 2 lives. It's like cat is saying, don't start the car, don't start the car. 1 life left. I think that'd be a great bit. I mean, the cat just progressively move, like the piston starting up. Oh, no, not the pancreas. 1 life left. And then it just freezes to death and loses the final life of the cat. Tell me if that isn't a bit that some comedian couldn't do. Anyway, by the way, welcome to Tristan and Bruce and Jonathan and Jake and Phil and Richard and Don and Amy and Tom. Oh, talking about dead cats live on Dave's Gone By this Saturday, November 21st, 2020. So much to do on the show. We got Lenny Schultz coming up in just a little bit. Oh, what? I have 10 minutes. Why do I have 10 text messages?
Uh-oh.
Somehow I get the feeling that maybe one of our guests, hold it. What?
Somebody having a moment.
Yeah, well, Leslie's not going to be with us.
Okay.
She sent us pictures of Thanksgiving turkeys. All right, fine.
That's helpful.
Wait. Huh?
Let me look.
Can you just ask her? I can't even make out like the 20 different messages. So, are you on the show today or not?
TV, no sleep, off to sleep for a few hours. I thought I was at Sullivan for a minute, unless you meant shoe, which I'm wearing sneakers. Oh, okay, I was confused. Not for me. I assume Dave is doing a show.
Yes.
No show today at all?
Just write to her. Yes, show. Make it if you can.
Okay.
And she has the link to click. We'll also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We'll also have our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We will also have...
Who said won't be
inside...
making it today? That might be Dave. No, that's Leslie.
That's Leslie.
Much of the night working. Too tired to hold up.
Well, tell her if she can...
With all the in-laws?
I'm just really confused as to whether she is or she isn't. Because maybe she thinks I'm not doing a show. But I am. I'm doing this show. Episode number 773 of Dave's Gone By, featuring Go Crazy Lenny Schultz. By the way, we couldn't do this show without the great folks at Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway. Not the Broadway we'll talk about on Inside Broadway, but Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island, where these guys, the Toran family, own the franchise. So here's the deal. Look at this. We've got Lenny Schultz on this episode of the show. Let's look for L. Of the things that Minuteman Press can do for all your printing and other kinds of needs. L stands for labels, laminations, lapel pins, laser-compatible stocks and inks, laser-proof thermography, because I hate it when thermography is damaged by lasers. It's awful. Law enforcement printing, layouts, letterheads, lettering for both hand and computer, logos, and lunch bags. Again, that is just the letter L of all the things that you at Minuteman Press can do for your business. They're also an official UPS drop-off and mailing site, which is one of the reasons they were open when so many other places closed during the early weeks of the pandemic. They were considered an essential service. And what else? They do shipping, law enforcement printing, digital copying, bindery gifts, elegant stationery, graduation, and bar mitzvah invitations, all of that Plus, if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. So give them a call, 516-569-5577. Area code 516-569-5577. I literally just stopped in there yesterday to say hi to the Minuteman Press folks, who, by the way, were fully masked, every single one of them, and doing the job that they do on a Friday afternoon, helping people, getting stuff out, helping businesses. Hewlett Minuteman Press, they are the copy kings. Well, let's see, I'm going to start, I don't know where Joyce went, but I would like to do a bit of Greeley Crimes and Old Times to really get the show rolling before we bring Lenny Schultz in. I could do that or Inside Broadway. I don't know if I have time to do Inside Broadway so quick. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll save Greeley Crimes. And instead, since I'm a theater guy, and I've been a theater critic and a playwright and an actor and a director and a theater journalist, so Broadway is really important to me, and I enjoy sharing news and information about.
Lenny Schultz called you at
He
9
did?
o'clock, yeah. I don't know.
9? He called me at 9?
I don't know how to get your voicemail.
Oh, well, all right.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, Lenny. Hold on. Well, we know he's out there somewhere. Please tell me that he isn't backing out of this, because that would make old Dave angry. So everything makes old Dave angry. But let's see. Did he leave a voicemail? He did. Can you listen to this, but not on speaker? Just let me know if we've suddenly gotten or if he called an hour too early. Well, at least I have his number that I can reach him back. The suspense, the suspense, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, okay. He says he thinks you're at your, I'm going to call him. He thinks you're at, he said that you're advertised he's at 9, but the show's at 9.
That is correct. Yeah. This is true. What I want to do without my wife Joyce helping out on the show. So let's go to Broadway, shall we? We shall. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. All right, let's see how fast I can run through all this Broadway news. Even though there's no Broadway right now, there is Broadway news. First of all, I want to let you know that, here's a little happy statistic. Fine and performing arts industries, between the beginning of the pandemic, from March just through the end of July, apparently 1.4 million jobs have been lost owing to the pandemic, and $42.5 billion in sales in the United States alone. Just amazing what this has done. Are we all set? He's on the phone now? Oh, of course. Hold on. Yeah, he has it. I'm hearing him talking. Yeah.
Perfect.
Good. So, yeah. Anywho, but let me tell you some good piece of news. Finally, one of the most angering things that has happened in the entertainment industry between March and now was that Actors Equity, the union that represents actors on Broadway and off Broadway, and SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, they're merged as SAG-AFTRA. They've been fighting, because SAG-AFTRA, the actors want to work, they want to do Zoom shows, they want to do virtual theater, they want to go in the theater and have that broadcast somewhere, and they want to work, they want to do it, even for minimal pay. Meanwhile, Actors Equity is saying, no, we've got to protect wages, and so they've been fighting. The two unions, week after week, have been going at each other. This week, they finally came to an agreement. And they said, okay, if you do these broadcasts in a very limited way for a limited amount of time, we worked out the amounts on that, we'll work together with you so that during the next few months of this pandemic, big theaters can do more stuff. And they can record things and broadcast them, not just in general on YouTube where millions of people can see it, but, in this limited way, these actors can work for this scale rather than their usual scale. Or maybe there's provisions where they can even work for free a bit. So I think that's kind of good news. Also good news, want to let you know that there's going to be a play that is being planned for Broadway when Broadway reopens in late 2021 or into 2022. It'll be at a Schubert Theater, but they haven't picked which one yet. It's called Thoughts of a Colored Man. Sort of sounds like a male version of For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. The author is Keenan Scott II. The director is Steve H. Broadnax III. And I guess they're hoping that viewers will come forth. The play premiered in 2019 at Syracuse Stage, which is kind of neat. So, they now, when Broadway does reopen, and especially off-Broadway, they're going to make sure they have a lot of plays by Black, Hispanic, ethnic, Latinx. They're just going to open a whole spectrum in a way that perhaps it has never been, for better or worse. You're going to see a lot of this kind of stuff. Thoughts of a Colored Man opening probably about a year from now or a little longer than that on Broadway. Hey, by the way, speaking of a white man writing plays, Tracy Letts, the Pulitzer winner, the guy who wrote August Osage County, and is an actor as well, his play, The Minutes, was supposed to open on Broadway a few months ago. It was like 2 weeks away from opening. The pandemic hit. Well, guess what? It still will open. It's going to be 2 years from its original intended opening date. So March 22nd, 2022 will be the opening date for Tracy Letts' play, The Minutes. It was going to play, hold on one moment, folks. Oh, absolutely, of course, yeah. I know. The guy's a sweetie. The guy's absolutely. I'm so looking forward to this. But Lenny Schultz just calling to make sure that we're all set, which we are, which I'm thrilled about. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that The Minutes won't be at the Court Theater anymore. It'll be at a different Broadway theater. But rather than close the show or send the actors home, they're planning 2 years later, from when it was supposed to open. They're gonna bring it back with people like Blair Brown, our friend of the Daverhood, Austin Pendleton, isn't it? Jesse Mueller, Tracy Letts himself, Sally Murphy, the same cast they're trying to keep together, even though it'll be 24 months from the original opening. I gotta say farewell to actress Lynn Kellogg. She was the original Sheila in Hair when it came to Broadway. Our friend of the Daverhood, Jill O'Hara, played it off-Broadway first, but then Lynn Kellogg did it in the Broadway version. She died at the age of 77 on November 12th. What happened was, after Hair, Lynn Kellogg was, amazingly, she was in an Elvis Presley movie called Charo, which did not star Charo. Go figure. And she was the one who developed the PBS series Animals, Animals, Animals. So, in tribute to her, we can't, unfortunately, play anything from like cast albums here anymore because of copyright stuff. But if you have the cast album to Hair, the great one from the Broadway production, that is Lynn Kellogg singing Easy to Be Hard. And she's on a couple of tracks there too. By the way, I want to let you know that we do this segment in part because of the auspices of this fine journal, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. I talked about Richmond Shepard before. He published this for about 10 years. Then I came on as co-publisher, and now I'm the full publisher of this guide to Broadway. Everything you need to know about every single show, especially when things start reopening in a few months or maybe a year. This is where you look for Broadway, off and off Broadway. Go to performingartsinsider.com to find out how you can subscribe to this incredible journal, which, by the way, also has a section on virtual theater. So it isn't just information that is useless until shows start reopening. If you're sitting at home, especially if you're going to be sent back home and doing everything remotely in the next few weeks, there's a whole list of shows that you can watch on YouTube and other platforms of virtual theater or recordings of shows that were done 10, 20, 50 years back. Get Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. A couple more things real quick. Well, the Roundabout Theater Company, a major force on and off Broadway, they are reaffirming their commitment to doing New York theater, because these institutional theaters have to come first. The commercial folks, they're running scared. They have to be. But these institutional ones, with funding, with grants, with subscribers, they're the ones who have to be in the front line saying, yes, when things are safe again, we're going to reopen. So they're saying they're still going to reboot. They're going to revive the musical 1776. It'll be in spring of 2022, not of 2021, but they're doing it. Caroline or Change. It was pushed off from a couple of months ago. It was going to be in the spring of next year. Now it'll be in the fall of next year, but they're doing it at Studio 54. There's going to be a play called Trouble in Mind by Alice Childress, all about a Black actress. That will be at the American Airlines Theater. And Birthday Candles, the Noah Hagel play featuring Deborah Messing, that will be coming to off. And there'll be some off-Broadway plays too. So great news from the roundabout. Good news for theater lovers who can't get to the theater. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which has for years showcased musical numbers from Broadway shows, they're doing it. This year, there won't be a real parade. There'll just be one block around like not even Times Square, but around Herald Square, where they'll just rope that off and in a distance way do performances and some people watching. But they will pre-tape a number of shows, a number of musical numbers from Broadway shows to play during the Thanksgiving Day Parade coverage. And among the participants, oh, hon, you'll be happy to hear this. Wow. Hamilton will have a number. Mean Girls, Jagged Little Pill, Ain't Too Proud, The Temptation Show. So yeah, you're going to want to be watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And you know, I have a little bit of news about a friend of the Daverhood, but I think I'll save that for Friends of the Daverhood. He's a theater director and founder of a theater in Washington, D.C. But he's, some interesting news about him that happened. But I don't really have time now for this segment because now let's hope Lenny calls back because it's time.
Call him. It's fine. Just tell him you're Sol Solomon.
Yeah, well, let's get out of our Inside Broadway segment and into Rabbi Sol Solomon talking with legendary comedian Lenny Schultz, who's calling at the moment. Dave's gone by. Hi, is this Lenny Schultz? Oh, Lenny, let me get, because you'll be talking to the great Rabbi Sol Solomon live on the program in just a few seconds. So the rabbi's coming into the room. I'm going to hand him the phone. I'm going to put you on speaker so that everybody can hear you. I'm going to do it just like this. And go figure, through the magic of teleradio. Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, everybody. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon. Delighted and thrilled to be here because you know, if you listen to me, that I am a student of comedy. Comedy first, Talmud second, but comedy always first. And oh my God, we've had so many delightful comedians on this program, but no one quite as wild and crazy and zany as our guest on the show. He's a nice Jewish boy named Lenny Schultz. Let me just tell you a little bit about him. You've seen him on the reboot of the show Laugh In, where you'll see that meme all over the place even today. He was on The Tonight Show. He was on Ed Sullivan. He's on The Comedy Shop with the late Norm Crosby, who just passed like a week or two ago. He is fondly recalled with admiration and even a little bit of fear by other comedians like Billy Crystal and Brett Butler and David Letterman, because they wouldn't want to follow him. He would get on the club stage and do his thing. He would kill, if you will, and then they would be like, I'm not following Lenny Schultz. No way. That guy's a madman. But he's not a madman at all. He just plays one on the stage. And right here on this program, Dave's gone by with me, Rabbi Sol Solomon. Let me say, first of all, a welcoming shalom to you, Lenny. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, how are you? You sound like you're 50 years old, but you're 86?
I'll be 87 next month.
Halabai. If you don't die of COVID, halabai, you will be 87. So how do you feel as good as you sound?
Yeah, I was an athlete, so I'm in pretty good shape for my age, yeah. And a lot of people don't know, but I started comedy when I was 30 years old, pretty late, you know?
Right.
And I don't look my age. When I started at the Improv many years ago, 1968, I look like I'm 20 and I'm 30, you know?
So you always had that edge.
In my family, we all look young, yeah.
Do you work out? Do you have an exercise regimen? Or are you like a couch potato like I am?
No, I work out, but only in my apartment now. I have a few dumbbells and I do stretching and things like that.
Oh, please. And, at my synagogue, I have so many dumbbells. Yeah. I'm sorry, I was making a joke there, that I deal with dumbbells all the time in my synagogue, but I just have to pick them up and throw them out myself. It's a joke, it's a pun, it's a play on the words there. But you've been more of, or known as more of a physical comedian. So when did you realize, when did people start looking at you and you started doing funny things, not professionally, but were you a child, or when did that really start?
Yeah, as a child, I used to be a quiet, introverted type of kid. And to get attention, I would make faces or make sounds or do chickens or do this or do that. And I got pretty good at it, but I never thought I'd be a comic. But I started out, I was a school teacher, a high school phys ed teacher, mostly in Queens. Francis Lewis High School, John Adams, Newtown, several of them. And teachers said, "Hey, you're so funny." So they brought me down to the improvisation, the comedy club.
Bud Friedman.
I did a tryout there. That's how I started.
So did you have to be convinced, or were you kind of nervous? Were you excited about it? Like that first improv time where you had to suddenly go up in front of strangers and make them laugh? What do you recall about that moment in your life?
Well, I do remember going to the open mic night, and of course my heart was beating. Hey, here's a microphone, here's a stage, and I'm just fooling around and being funny with my friends. And now here's an audience, and of course I was very nervous. I had no eye contact with the audience, and I just did my 6-7 minutes, and they liked me a lot. And Bud Friedman, the owner there, who eventually became a manager, one of my managers at that time, and he asked me, and I became a regular at the Improv. That's how I started.
Do you remember?
4 months later, I was very unique in doing things. I wasn't a real stand-up with jokes like Seinfeld or David Brenner. I did unique, unusual type things.
Well, do you remember one or two of the unique bits that you did in that very first one? Were you doing chicken noises? Did you do muscle things in your face? What was some of the first in those 6 minutes?
Well, I started out, yes. My parents used to go to the Catskill Mountains in the summer to go to these coca lanes and bungalows and hotels, and there were chickens up there, and I started imitating them, and so I started doing chickens very early in life and doing funny things, and at the beginning, I did the routines. I never used props for the first 4 years. Then later on in life, I started doing props because they were easy. But I did most of the bulk of my TV was routines.
Okay.
And I did a lot of television at the beginning.
I heard you on another podcast. I don't want to impose upon you, but if you can, if you actually do, one of the things you do is a chicken having an orgasm. I would love, can you still do that? Could you share a chicken-gasm with us if that is not asking too much?
Oh, wow, I haven't. I used to do that for my friends. I hardly ever did it at a show, but once in a while at a late show, let's say at a Raleigh Hotel or Bridges, Concord, whatever, or a comedy club, a chicken having an orgasm. Let me see. Let me just warm up.
Sure, of course.
Not bad, right?
Fantastic.
You're a rabbi, right? I could do Jewish chicken, Italian, French, Greek. I do all kind of ethnic chickens.
Please do an ethnic chicken. Please do a Jewish. Yes.
You want to hear some of it or not?
Of course I want to hear some of this. Of course.
Okay, here's a Jewish chicken. Let me warm up again.
That was beautiful. It was lovely. So let me throw some things at you that you can still do this.
Here's an Italian chicken.
Go.
Sore throat now. It's not coming up.
Oh, I'm saying no. Okay.
Clear. But, I'm doing the best I can.
No, you're doing fantastically. Come on,
Wait a
here.
minute. Wait. I have to do the chicken how to get orgasm.
Oh, please.
It's more physical. You got to really see. Okay, let me see if I can do it. Let me.
Or do a female so she has multiples. That would be good. But no, that. By the way, we've never heard that on this program before. Ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to the one, the only Lenny Schultz. I do wish you had been able to do a Zoom thing so that we could physically see you. But if people can imagine, they know you. Also, if you've ever seen, and Dave was talking about this earlier in the program, that one incredible, that perfect comedy, unforgettable moment. I think it was on Laugh-In, when you're the Italian woman with the spaghetti. It's magnificent. Was it all your idea? They set it up and you just did. Were there many takes of that, or did you get it in one?
I got that in one, and actually, we had about. By the way, this was not the original Laugh-In. This was called the new Laugh-In. 5 years after the original Laugh-In with Goldie Hawn, I was a regular on the new Laugh-In with people like Robin Williams, me, and about 5 others. You know what I mean? And they hired about 22, 23 comics for us. And I'm not comics, I'm sorry, writers, comedy writers. But 80, 90% of what I did on Laugh-In was my own material. That spaghetti, that particular routine was mine. I made that up, yeah.
I can't, you can't watch that and not laugh.
George Slaughter's favorite.
No, it was beautiful. It was so, that moment is a moment in comedy history because it's so physical and it's just hit you so perfectly. And you did it so great that you will live on 100 years in the history of comedy just for that moment. And maybe that sounds reductive about your whole career, but a comedian would live to live forever with a moment like that, you know? I mean, do you feel that way? No? I'm saying, do you feel that do you think that your comedy will live on after you?
Yeah, like not jokes. I don't really tell jokes. I do chickens and all kinds of crazy things, and I think they'll be good forever. You know, you'll be able to understand them. Most of the stuff I do, you can understand. Very simple, middle America type stuff.
Were you influenced by, say, vaudeville or burlesque or maybe Jonathan Winters, or did it just come to you just by being a funny person? You weren't directly influenced by anybody physical.
Well, no. I like funny guys. I was influenced. I don't know. Influenced is the right word, but the people I made me laugh were people like Jonathan Winters. Who else? A lot of physical comics, you know. Danny Kaye influenced me, and
that makes sense. Yes.
Geez, a lot of cerebral comics too. You know. I like comedy, all kinds of comedy, but the ones that I like the best was Sid Caesar, Jonathan Winters, Danny Kaye, people like that.
I think maybe Ed Wynn would have been a good, and Burl, perhaps, were they sort of influential too?
What? I didn't hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like Milton Berle, Ed Wynn, were they also on some level influential to you?
Yeah, I liked him. What I didn't know when, but I worked with Milton Berle. I did a routine with a sketch, and it was something really remarkable. And it was a great sketch I did on a Bill Cosby special, but they never showed it because for different reasons. I like Milton Berle. I like most comics.
So
I like comics you never heard of. I like 3 minutes of their material, 5 minutes of this guy, 2 minutes of this. Some of these guys who never hit TV, I like them better than a lot of the guys on television.
Wow. Well, that's the thing. Let me ask you: you seem not terribly attached to modern stuff? Like, I don't think you have a computer really even. Do you watch a lot of television? What do you do in your spare time if you're not watching television like the rest of the world?
Well, right now I'm with this disease going, and all this we're stuck in the house most of the time.
Right.
I'm watching politics. Yeah. I'm watching sports. I'm a big sports guy. I don't know if you know my background in baseball, but I was.
You were almost a Yankee.
Yeah. I was offered a contract with the New York Yankees when I was 18, and 5 teams wanted me. Cincinnati, the Chicago Cubs. I was a real good pitcher. Unfortunately, I hurt my arm and I was finished with sports. Real bad dislocation of my shoulder, and they didn't have arthroscopic in those days. And I remember one of the doctors wanted to cut into my arm over here. My Jewish mother, with her accent, says, "You're not cutting my son," It was funny. But then I hurt my arm. So now what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I'm not a business guy. I went to NYU and I became a high school gym teacher.
All right.
Teacher.
So a couple of quick things. First of all, when you had that incredible life-changing setback, were you depressed? Were you even suicidal, or was it like, well, I'll pick myself up, dust myself off, and start all over again?
No, I was depressed. Oh yeah, my whole life was baseball, pitching. You know what I mean? And of course, here I am going to sign with the Yankees, and the other teams were after me, and then I hurt my arm in a game in the first inning. And of course I'm depressed. Yeah. But then when I went to college, and they said, "Oh, well, I love kids, I love sports, teaching, and all this." So then I was happy,
But here's a question for you, because
depressed for a number of years with that.
Oh, really? Oh, but the thing is, so you found that calling in life. You got to still be very physical. You got to do sports. You got to help young people grow and do sports for themselves. But at the same time, now you're getting on TV. Now you're getting in the clubs. Now you got like Bud Friedman managing you. Wasn't there a certain point where your manager or other people were telling you, if you want to make a career as a comedian, you kind of got to give up getting up for the 7:45 a.m. bell?
Well, here's what I did. I was a teacher here in Queens, but in those days, a lot of the television was right here in New York. So I was doing Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, David Frost, Mike Douglas, Ed Sullivan. They were all in the area. So I never had to quit teaching, So, and I was teaching for a number of years. So I would do television and then go and teach school the next day. It would be crazy because it was like a hero to these, even the teachers, the kids. Here I am doing Carson, and the next day I'm in a gym. It was like insane.
Yeah.
They were asking me for my order. Even the teachers were asking for my autograph.
I would.
So I didn't quit right away. Eventually, later on in life, I left after a number of years and went out to LA and did more TV.
Well, I know that you were in. It was only a season long, but I do recall watching like the baseball sitcom Ball 4, based on Jim Bouton's book. You were there for a season of that. How did that? Do you have any stories about doing a sitcom like that? Was it arduous? Was it wonderful? How was it?
Yeah, well, that was great because I played an actor who was a pitcher with a bad arm. And when I was in LA, they flew me into New York to read for the part of Ball 4. And I was accepted, but unfortunately, like a lot of sitcoms, it died out, and we only did about 7, 8 episodes. I says, oh my God, look, here's my chance to be on a sitcom. You have to be lucky in show business, but it fell through, and that was the end of Ball 4. But I had fun doing it, and that's it.
Well, you also, amazingly enough, you got to be on a sitcom with the great Nancy Walker. Because weren't you in Blansky's Beauty?
Jim Bolton was my uncle.
Someone watching the show just wrote in to say that Jim Bouton was his uncle. Bouton just passed a few months ago, I think. But were you in? Do you have any memories of Nancy Walker? Were you on Blansky's Beauties?
Oh yeah, but you know how I got on that show?
Yeah.
Excuse me. That was in L.A. I'm going back now. When I was in the Army, I was drafted in the Army. I was in between let me see. I graduated NYU 56. I was in the Army from 56 to 58. They sent me to Fort Knox, Kentucky. And because I was a high school phys ed teacher, they made me the basketball coach. And I had tryouts for the soldiers. And one of the guys was Gary Marshall.
Oh my God!
Producer. Yeah, he made my team. So I knew him from basketball. Then when I went to LA, we got close. I used to go to his house and play basketball for a couple of years every Saturday. And he would give me Blansky's Beauties and a few other shows.
But let me ask you a question.
He gave me jobs.
Yeah. Let me ask Lenny, how did you? So you knew Gary Marshall, like from those early days, from the military, from playing basketball with him. How wasn't there a moment? Could you play basketball with him without at some moment saying, "So I hear you got this show coming called Happy Days. Do you think maybe you could, I could be, or Laverne and Shirley, I know you need a squiggy. I'd make a great squiggy." How do you know someone like that without hawking them and pestering them and saying, "Look, I'm in this business, help me"?
I know what you're talking about, but I'm not that kind of guy. I never said, "What could you do for me?" I just play ball.
Yeah.
I went to his refrigerator, had a soda, played tennis over there, but I never said, "Hey, what could you do for me?" I'm not that. I never pushed. I was never really aggressive that way. And he came to me and says, "Lenny, you got a little part for you here. I got a part for you here," and that's how it happened.
Well, do you have any stories?
And I remember playing basketball there, and we played not full court, but we played 3-on-3. And the guy I used to always guard was Elliot Gould, who was the husband of Barbara Streisand.
Right. 6 Degrees of Streisand. So again, you say, "So new, Elliot, you're doing this movie with Robert Altman. Does he need somebody to imitate a chicken?" I guess you don't. You're not the kind of person who would ask that. So do you have any stories, though, about all these people that you worked with, either comedians that opened for you or you opened for, or some of the actors that you dealt with? Any kind of fun anecdotes and memories of these people?
Well, when I left L.A. After the Laughing, I didn't want to take any chances with show business because I had a child and married, and so I called the Board of Education up and I said, "Hey, how do I get a pension?" They said, "You have to, if you come back to New York, you have to teach at least another 4 years to get a pension." I went back after just working with Sinatra, Jimmy Stewart, Milton Berle, and all these guys, and here I am, and I wanted to get the pension, so I went and got the pension. I did my 4 years, but while I was in New York, every weekend I would work in comedy clubs.
Wow.
And I remember going out and working I was never an opening act. I was a little too strong for opening act. I like the comic, a nice comic. But I used to open up for Frank Zappa. You heard of him?
Yes, we've heard of Frank Zappa. So he would bring you out when the mothers would be playing, and he would be sort of get the crowd all riled up.
I used to do shows with him at Phil Forum in Madison Square Garden, and the only two people I ever worked was Frank Zappa and Willie Nelson. You know, one was rock and roll.
What a straight
with both those guys.
So, do you have any stories about either Frank, Zappa, or Willie Nelson? Any memories of them? Anything about them?
Well, here's a story with Mel Brooks. You want to hear that?
Yes, of course.
Mel Brooks was doing the movie. Excuse me. High Anxiety, it was called.
Right.
You know. And when Mel Brooks hires people, he usually, before he hires, he brings in his own group. Madeline Kahn, this guy, that, people that he likes,
right.
His friends, and they work for him. And then my friend Steve Landesberg, who was on Bonnie Miller, told Mel Brooks about me. He needed a dog, a person, well, I'm getting confused here. I'm forgetting, but let me try to remember.
Sure.
Charlie Callis.
Yes.
And he played the part of a dog, a real dog. Okay. For some reason, he may not be doing the movie. So Steve Landesberg said, Lenny Schultz is in town. He does chicken, he does lizards, he does dogs. So Mel Brooks, they called me up. I auditioned for him, and the first thing he says to me, hi Lenny, I hear you're pretty wild. I'm auditioning now for the dog part that Charlie Callis may not do. So he says, go over to the couch over there, get on your knees, and hump the couch like a dog. So I'm going, the humping thing,
Yeah.
And he says, oh, what a great effing dog. Wow. If Charlie doesn't come back, you got the part. But Charlie came back and did the part. That's my story with Mel Brooks.
So basically, your one meeting with Mel Brooks is he complimented you on how well you humped a couch like an animal. Only show business. Only.
Yeah, it was wild the way I did it. Oh, by the way, I started growling. So I his hand. I played the part of the dog, and he didn't bleed, but I made his hand get a little red, The scratch up my teeth. So he said, "What a great effing dog!" I remember him saying that.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely.
That was my story with Mel Brooks, and I got a great story also with, but it's a little long, with Milton Berle.
Tell me that.
I have a lot of stories.
Well, I love that. That's what we're here. Because it's one thing for someone who has worked with famous people to say, oh, I worked with this person. I worked with Sinatra. But it's another for them to say, and here's something that happened when I worked with so-and-so. This was really scary or funny or silly or poignant. So tell us the Berle story, by all means.
What do you say? Which story is that now?
No, you said you had a story about Milton Berle.
Oh, yeah, look. I know Cosby is not liked now because of all this stuff with the women and all that stuff, but he did a sitcom where he was a family man, Huxtable something.
Yeah, Huxtable, yes.
Before that, years before that, he did a variety show called COUES. COS.
Uh-huh.
So I did the pilot for him. He actually saw me at the Catch a Rising Star with producers, directors, and all that. And he liked my set, and he called me and says, hey, I want you to do a pilot for me. Doing COUES. So I did the pilot here in New York for him. And I remember, what's his name was in it. And I got a little friendly with him. What's his name? He used to be in the odd couple. But with the
Klugman, Randall, who? Al Molinari, who was in, like Tony Randall or Jack Klugman, one of them?
Randall
Okay.
was in it, me and a few others. So we did the pilot, chorus. So it wasn't picked up. About 6-7 months later, I get a call. Hey, we were picked up, and we want you to. We're going to start filming. And he brought me out to LA, and Milton Berle in that particular show was the main actor. I was the second or third person on the show. So they put Milton Berle and I together. You know how Nixon was against Kennedy in that debate thing?
Yeah.
They had Milton Berle dressed as a clown. He represented the crazy party. I represented the cold cut party. They gave me a shirt, trousers. I had cold cuts all over my shirt, a pepperoni tie,
Oh, real actual, yeah.
Salami, bologna, turkey, they pasted it onto my shirt. So now we're in front of about 700 people, and they gave us cue cards the night before. It says, hey, just look at the cue card, try to know a little about, when we get to tape it in the morning. So we start the next day in the morning, and Milton Berle goes first. We're debating, and Milton Berle says, vote for me, da-da-da-da-da. And David had a propeller on his head. Lights were going all over his clown suit. And then it came to my part. And you vote for me, I'll give you this, I'll do that. And the director kneeling next to me knew that whenever I heard the words, go crazy Lenny, would excite me. So he said, go crazy Lenny. And he did it so soft that it couldn't hit the boom mic, couldn't pick it up. And I stopped looking at my cue card, and my eyes crossed, and I went off my dialogue, and I started improvising. You vote for me, I'll give you salami. And I start ripping all the stuff off my shirt. Salami, I started eating it crazily. You know what I mean? The audience went insane.
Yeah.
And so I overpowered Milton Berle.
Uh-oh.
He got very angry when the producers, directors came to me, Lenny, we have to do this routine over. You were too strong for him. We got to make him the star of the sketch.
Right.
So that's my story with Milton Berle.
Wow. Yeah. I get the feeling that he would not want to be overshadowed in any way, shape, or form.
You can't overshadow a star. So we had to do the whole thing over again. I'm getting a little hoarse here.
Oh, yeah. Well, or a little bit of a pony. Can you do a horse for us?
A lot of other stories I can't even think. I remember what's his name from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Larry David, or from
Larry David, yeah. When I was out there, when I first moved out there, I wanted to get furniture and all that, and to get a bed, and someone said Larry David is trying to sell his mattress. So I went over to he wasn't, they didn't know him, and he was a starving comic like a lot of us. I never thought I was just a lucky guy. Things went pretty well for me, but he tried to sell me his mattress. That was crazy.
My God. We're talking, by the way, with Lenny Schultz, with so many delightful stories, so much going on. So I do want to get to the point again that at 86 years old, you sound amazing. You're absolutely, as we would say, all there. Do you live by yourself? You're not in a retirement community or home or who are?
Yeah, I live in one of these. In a condo in Allendale on the beach,
Nice.
And I'm looking at the ocean right now while I'm talking to you, and I'm just relaxing. And before all this disease stuff with all the, what's going on, I used to go have fun going to comedy clubs. I'd call them up and say, hey, you want me to come over? They said, oh, we'd love you. So I used to go to comedy clubs and work out, go on stage 10, 15 minutes just to have a little fun.
Wow.
They never paid me, right in. I didn't want to get paid. I just did it for fun. So now I can't even do that because comedy clubs are all closed now.
Well, sure. But can I ask, when you're with people, whether it's relatives or whether friends or just strangers, do you feel the need to be on? Do you always feel the need to make a little joke or do something physical, or can you have?
I'm not one of those guys who does that. You know, I'll always do it with people I know. Or they'll say, "Hey, Lenny, great chicken. Let me do the chicken for my son, my daughter. You know, where I'm living. You know, so I do that. But then I get tired of doing it. They say, do this, do that. But when I'm with friends, I'm usually still have that introverted shy thing about me, you know what I mean? I'm still, I don't push myself, you know, I don't, like a lot of comics are on all the time, not me, you know?
I mean, that's wonderful that you can compartmentalize, because I know for a lot of people that's very difficult. Like, I used to hear stories about Robin Williams, where he would be at a party and he would just, you know, he would have to be on. They weren't asking, he would just be on so much that people get tired. They'd be like,
let me dispute you.
oh.
I was very friendly with Robin. We were both on the New Laughing. We were very close. We went out. We were with our wives, and we went to movies together, swimming, you know. He was a quiet type of guy a lot of times, and he wouldn't show off a lot of times. And sometimes he would, and sometimes, like me, sometimes you show off a little bit, do your chicken, tell some jokes or whatever. And but a lot of the times, if Robin, if he didn't know you, he was quiet.
Huh.
You know?
Okay. Because I had heard a little different. Maybe it was just one particular occasion where he just kept going and going. And people were like, Robin, you don't have to do that. We like you for you. You can just be yourself. But he couldn't turn it off. But maybe that was.
But, he could do that. But
yeah.
He could be on the quiet side also.
That's good. That's. I mean, whatever. It wasn't good for him because at some point he just. I mean, yeah. Do you get the feeling, since you knew so many comedians, that they are more screwed up and depressed and miserable and angry than the regular person?
Well, someone maybe has to do a study on that, but I think everyone could be that way. A lawyer, a doctor, a sanitation a baker, you know what I mean? We're all human beings, you know?
Yeah.
We could be depressed or happy like everyone else. A lot of the comics were depressed like anybody could be depressed. True. Or happy, you know? I didn't find that, you know, you hear the things, you hear that about comics, but I don't believe that. I think it's, everyone is that way. We're all human beings. It happened to anyone.
Well, speaking of human beings, you're a human being too, and as lively and fun as you were married twice, and I guess twice it didn't work. Why do you think? Was it the show business? Was it just your personality? You weren't meant to be married long term. Why aren't you married still?
Well, I don't really like talking about personal things like that.
Okay.
You know, on the air like that. You know.
That's okay.
I feel funny doing that.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to talk down about people you were married to, but is there something in you?
But the people I divorced and everything, they were friends of mine. I like them, you know. It just happens, you know. I don't want to really talk about it.
Do you have kids? Did you have children?
I had one kid, Mark, and I love him, a son who, you know, became very good at music. He's a piano player, and he was a famous DJ. He did a lot of DJ stuff at the original China Club when it opened up in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And and I have one child from my first wife, and now I have a girlfriend that I like very much, Sharon Margulies, Sharon Renee, and she's a great girl, and I love her. And
Mazel. No, I mean, she was instrumental in getting you on this program, by the way, because you don't have Facebook, you don't have.
Well, because I don't like talking with people with business, getting on shows and talking. And I said, why don't you handle it for me? You know what I mean? And she's very clever, and she handled the whole project.
We thank her very, very much for the way she's been helping you and the way that she was able to get you on this program. We're very, very grateful to her and to you. Let me tell you, one other thing that I heard on a podcast that you did was, can you tell the story, please, of the moth?
The what?
The moth. Like a butterfly, but not really, like a moth. Remember you were on...
Wow. Where did you hear that story?
You were on a podcast a few years ago, very good, very fun podcast, and they did a really, really good job. It was this sexy little Asian girl.
That was the craziest thing in the world. I don't even know, like, talking about it, but what the hell, I'll tell you.
Please.
I went to see a friend of mine at a comedy club, a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine who passed away a number of years, Chris Rush. You know, and we were very friendly. I went to see him. He was in my neighborhood. I went to see him at the comedy club, and I came in, and because I had done quite a bit of television, a lot of the people in the audience knew me, and so Chris came over and he says, "Lenny, would you like to come up on stage, and I'll introduce you and do a few minutes?" He says, "No, not really yet. Yeah, I just came here to just relax and watch you, have a couple of drinks." And so he went on. He was a terrific comedian. And then the nightclub was a very small nightclub, low ceilings, and the walls were all black. And you could see the spotlight, and you could see all the smoke in the spotlight. So he said, he said, "Come on, Lenny." The audience is going, "Come on, Lenny." The people want to see. So I said, "What the hell?" So I went on the stage, and I walked in. This is one in a billion. This will never happen again. I walked on the stage and into the spotlight, and from the other side, a large moth came in from the other side of the spotlight, and I immediately looked at it and I said, "Jesus, it's like hovering like a helicopter. It's not moving, like flying around real fast like a bird or a moth normally would do. It's just sort of like just moving slightly." And so I went into my lizard. I do a lizard thing. And I went, like an iguana, and I went pop, pop, and I went pop. And with my tongue, I caught the moth. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, and the audience went, "Whoa, look what just happened. This is not a prop. This is a real moth." You know what I mean?
Yes.
So because I was crazy, and some of the people, they go crazy, Lenny. So I start chewing the moth. And the guts were like coming down my mouth, because, hey, I gotta go crazy, Lenny, go crazy. So I had to go nuts, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And normally I'm the real Lenny is a quiet type of guy, real deep down. And here I am doing that, and people were falling off the chair. They couldn't believe what happened. I couldn't believe. I ran into the bathroom, stuck my fingers down my throat. I threw up, wiped myself a little bit. We came back over here, and Chris Rush, who had to continue the show, he couldn't continue for another 15, 20 minutes. There was too much bedlam in the room. People saying they couldn't believe what had just happened. And that's the story of my moth.
Oh my God. There's actually a storytelling group called The Moth.
Smiling? Are you smiling from that?
Of course I'm smiling. I'm smiling from this whole interview. It's wonderful. It's delightful. Yeah. And unfortunately...
I did some crazy things that I regretted. I said, "Oh my God, how did I even..." I had no time to think. I just did the lizard, and I stuck my tongue out and shot it out like the lizards normally do, or a snake that tongue goes out, caught the thing, and put it back and chewed it.
Wow, wonderful. I mean,
it was insane. It was really disgusting.
Yeah, all right, but in the moment, you've got to do it. The spotlight's on you, the crowd's there, they're telling you go crazy, something clicks in the brain as a comedian. You have to take that shot in that moment.
because you might have regretted it if you hadn't. I mean, you regretting it when you were vomiting the moth up, but if you hadn't done it, it would have been in your head to this day of like, what if I could have? What if I just gotten it? What a moment that would have been, you know? So you did it, you took it. That's what a comedian, that's what a performer and entertainer does. It's been so delightful. It has been so much fun chatting with Lenny Schultz here on Dave's Gone By. First of all, before we let you go, I want to thank you for everything that you have done for comedy. You know, you were, as they say, comedian's comedian. So that even if a lot of people don't necessarily know, you know, you may not know your name, if they see you physically, they'll know who you are. They'll remember you. And there are comedians who will say, oh gosh, yes, some of the greatest comedians still with us will go, oh, I never wanted to follow Lenny. And this is why. I think we've gotten a taste of just that. Do you have a favorite current comedian? Is there someone who makes you laugh these days?
Well, the guy I always thought was my friend was Robin Williams. There was no one like him. He was, because I used to go to improv classes and watch him do this, do that, and and his improv. I mean, he was a real pure genius. You know, he like that. Like I said before, there are other comics. Can't think of a lot of their names, but geez, I like so many of them. I like 5 minutes of their material, 3 here, 2 here. You know, even unknown comics. You know what I mean?
Right. And for 2 or 3 minutes, they got
a lot of them opened up for me. You know what I mean? Right. Even what's his name? As a young guy, Eddie Murphy used to open up for me.
Wow.
Phil used to open up for me. Ray Romano, Kevin James, all these guys. At the beginning of their careers, they opened up for me, and they became stars. And I liked all of them. They're real. You know, I like the person better if they were a nice guy than a comic. You know, if they were a decent human being, I liked them. And comic was secondary.
Well, were there any who weren't mentions? Did you run into a couple of comedians who became famous who really weren't very nice?
Yeah, you always get people who are nice. Some are great. Some are not. You know. I'm not gonna.
Oh, you don't want to.
There could be a few that not that I disliked them. Yeah, some of them would make comments like any human being. You know, what a schmucky guy this guy is. Why did he say that? Why is he talking bad about this guy? Why? Well, you know what it is. That's life. You know, good and bad. You know, in between everything. You know.
Well,
but I like the real nice guys.
Well, Lenny, you sound like the ultimate anti-schmuck. You are the nice guy. You have been absolutely giving us so much joy just on this program and through your life. All I can do is wish you, first of all, God willing, continued good health to you. Not just COVID, but anything. Just be well. Enjoy your life on the beach with the water. Enjoy the comedy that you enjoy. And keep being the one, the only Lenny Schultz. Thank you so much for being with us in the Daverhood today.
Well, thank you, Sol. Sol is your name, right?
Yeah, it's correct. Sol Solomon, yes.
Yeah, you say you sound like a nice guy yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I very rarely do these kind of shows. You know, a lot of comics, they're doing these, what do they call them? I don't know what they call it. Mod from their house, you know.
Oh, yeah. Podcasting. Yeah.
Podcast, yeah, you know, a lot of them everyone is doing podcasts now.
Right.
They're calling me up here, and I did yours because I saw who you had before, and I thought, I'll go on yours. You know what I mean? I only did one before that, and let's see what's gonna go on now. You know,
well,
I could do them, I can't do them. I'm just happy the way I'm living right now. As long as I have my health,
Alibi,
and having a little fun, I'm happy. You know?
Holla, stay healthy, stay happy, stay Lenny Schultz. Shalom to you.
Thank you very much.
You too. Shalom. And
shalom. Bye.
Bye. Lenny Schultz! Oh, wasn't that wonderful? Oh, wasn't that so much? Yeah, you know what? You're not as good at chicken as Lenny Schultz is at chicken. I've got to say that. We have Dave coming back to do the yesterday quiz right now. So this is Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder, spiritual leader of Temple Sons and Bitchers, saying shalom to you. Oh, go crazy, Rabbi! Hey! Rabbi Sol Solomon there with Lenny Schultz, a legendary comedian. I was so worried that we waited too many years to get Lenny Schultz on the program, that we should have thought of it 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when he would have been, in his right mind and able, but he was fantastic.
I don't know how he did that chicken. It was beautiful.
It was magnificent.
It was the best chicken I've heard in my life.
Gave me an orgasm to hear him do a chicken having an orgasm.
All the people join.
Yeah. Well, first, let me let some people in. Let me let into the Daverhood
It's always people joining.
our friends to play the yesterday quiz. We have a sideways person. Why are you? Somebody needs to flip. We got my great friend Richard Shore, who there you go, Richard, hello, and also David Sheward. Not to discount you, David Sheward, but let me do a proper introduction of these people who are joining.
Now, I wasn't sure. This is a room, so I didn't know if I needed to wear a mask.
This is let's see, if somebody is within 8 to 25 feet of you, you should probably.
Gallery view.
So I can take this off.
You can. I think you can take this off, and we can see the beard. Oh, there you are. You've got the same thing I do. The beard goes gray. The rest of you stays dark. It's interesting. I love it. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Thank God. Thank God. I'm good. I'm good. This is Richard Shore, by the way. Richard Shore has been he's a musician. He's a music teacher. He has also been the accompanist for the great Rabbi Sol Solomon.
Pianist.
The piano. Well, sometimes a piano. Okay, one time it was a keyboard, wasn't it? So it wasn't always just a piano. There was one time you did it on an electric, so it's a keyboard.
Okay.
But he was wonderful, and he accompanied Rabbi Sol when he was doing Shalom Dammit, an evening with Rabbi Sol Solomon in Colorado and in New York, and at we were talking about Richmond Shepherd before, the Richmond Shepherd Theater and the Roy Arias Theater. What a delight to see you. And also our other guest, David Sheward, former head of the Drama Desk, theater critic, theater blogger.
I can't see anybody else, just you.
Hello. I can see.
Oh, there you are. Hold on. Is there a way to get?
There's a gallery view on your.
Gallery view, yes.
I'm looking for it. Where would I find it?
Go to the upper
speaker
right
view
corner and look for there's a speaker view, or look for dots.
Yeah, look for dots, or.
Oh, he's on his phone though. Yeah. So he's on his phone. It might be different.
Oh, maybe a little different. Whoa! There we go.
Hold on.
And well, by the way, I see there's a bullwinkle in the corner there. Welcome to Bullwinkle G. Moose. That's and we have chicken in honor of our guest Lenny Schultz, who was just on the program.
Oh, did I need a stuffed animal?
If you have one, it would be helpful. You don't really need one, but just to be part of the program. He's got.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you okay?
I'm still trying to get more than one of you.
That could be dangerous, Richard. One of me is more than enough. Trust me.
Is that the Lenny Schultz? The name sounds familiar. Was he a stand-up comedian?
Go crazy, Lenny. He was the guy, the Italian, on Laughing, throwing the spaghetti and playing a chicken and. Yeah.
And he was briefly on a Saturday morning television show called Drawing Power.
Oh, that's right. Rabbi Sol didn't ask him about that, but he's alive. He's well. Very well indeed. He's in mid-80s now. And you would love this, David. During much of his heyday in the 1970s, when Lenny Schultz was appearing on Johnny Carson, on Merv Griffin, et cetera, and so forth, he would do that at night. He would tape the show, And then the next morning, he would go to the high school where he was a physical education teacher.
Oh, uh-huh.
That's your reaction. Because David is a high school
also
teacher.
in Queenstown.
Yeah, and Queens. It
Oh,
was in New York.
that I did not know.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a good stuffed animal.
There's a non sequitur. Let's see, what you got? Isn't it weird how men have stuffed animals? Why is that?
Disturbing to me.
Oh, look at that!
That is, I've never been able to figure out his name.
Albert.
It's either
Was it
Poulenc,
Cornelius? Huh?
either Poulenc or Puccini.
Oh,
Oh.
I get it. Poulenc or yeah.
I'm trying to get both of you, but I still can't.
It's better than Poupan, or Eric Sapi. No, I don't know.
Oh dear.
Sorry about that. Yes. You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, David Sheward, Richard Shore. Alas, Leslie, our lass, will not be joining us today. She was up late working on something, so she will not. What was she doing?
She said she was doing something with a turkey.
She was doing something with a turkey.
That's disgusting.
Well,
And rather personal.
that makes her kind of a bastard, but I don't know what that means. I guess she was just doing stuff.
Oh dear.
I know. I'm just winging it.
Okay,
But we still get to play the game.
I cannot figure out how to see both of you at once.
Well, but do you see me?
I see you.
All right. Well, no.
And when David is talking, I see him.
Do you see me?
So he's on.
So you don't have gallery.
So he's on speaker when he's
Yeah.
going to do. whoever
So what's
speaks.
happening with you, Richard? Joyce is saying that.
No, I know what it is. I just can't find the button.
That's all right. Well,
That's what you said last night.
Sorry. Oh, that's.
I said that's what you said last night.
David's on.
Well done. David he's on it. So, Richard, it doesn't matter. The good point is that we can see both of you guys. So our view, the view that's being recorded, the view that's going out live on Facebook now, we can see both of you. And you both look great, and it's really good to see you both. So I'm thrilled that you're both on the show today. It is November 21st, 2020, the 773rd episode of Dave's Gone By. And so Richard has been on a couple of times in the past, especially when we were promoting the Rabbi Show. David has been on as a theater critic, but more recently he's been the formidable contestant, the champ very often, in our Today, Yesterday
and
quiz.
the best impersonation of a waitress.
And he does a very good impersonation of an English waitress in a Monty Python vein, which he may do for us today.
All right.
So
if the occasion arises, it
would have to be something perhaps spam related. Perhaps.
Oh yeah.
But anywho, are you ready? Are you ready to play the game? It's called Today, Yesterday. Richard,
Yes.
He hasn't done this before. So Richard, it's a.
I haven't had much of it today yet. I've only been up for less than an hour.
Oh, because it's early there. It's like 8:50, and he's calling from Colorado.
Oh.
And I normally sleep till 1, so this is early.
Wow, it's like that Tom Waits song. You sleep until the crack of noon, and
There you
beyond.
go.
But maybe he can channel subconsciously. He can channel the answers.
That's right. Yeah, if you can go back, since we're 2 hours ahead of you, before you give the answer, you can go back and watch us, and then come back in time and answer the question because it will have been out there.
Well, I can't even figure out how to see both of you at once. So you're getting a little complicated here. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
She won't go on camera.
Hey, how are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you since the Backers audition.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
let's not get into that. What an unbelievable waste of time that was. Fun as it was to do.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
I'm the one who came in from Colorado.
Yep, he did. He came in to play when we did a reading of the show at the Dramatists Guild, which went pretty darn well, except it started 45 minutes. I'm not, I don't want to tell the story.
No, he'll get angry.
Yeah, I'll just get mad. It's a waste of time and money. But it was a fun night. Let's leave it at that. It was a very enjoyable night in and of itself. And you know what? Had things progressed from it, and had producers put money in it and been interested, and it would have been going on in like April of this year. So it would have been useless anyway. It would have been even more planning and stuff down the drain. So in some ways we were spared, which is kind of nice. But anyway, I will not spare you in our Today-Yesterday quiz, which is a trivia game. We have 2 contestants playing today, which makes things a little bit simpler, I hope. I'm not sure how many questions I'll ask because I was planning on 3, but we're going to do roll a die first. So I have a digital dice thing here, Richard, just so you know. So here's the deal. Can I ask you guys, each of you, to pick a number between 1 and 6?
5.
I got 5 from David.
I'll take 2.
2 from Richard. So I'm gonna roll
it takes 2.
Well, I'm not going to tangle with that. So I'm going to roll this die. And the die comes up 3, which is closer to the number 2, which came up to closer to Richard. So Richard, you have the option of whether you want to go first or second.
I'll go second.
Richard will go second. Oh.
It's smart because he's not played the game. So
Yeah, so you'll figure out how it goes. So it's just, we got these 10 questions listed. This makes it fair as to who gets the question when. So it's kind of random. And that's really all it is. The questions are worth 2 points apiece. If you get it wrong, you're not penalized, but the other person gets to steal the question for 2 points. And we just go through and then we count up the points at the end. And if you win, you get bupkis. You get absolutely nothing at all.
But tell Richard it's okay because every guest gets 0 right the first time. Usually,
yeah. Whenever we have a first-time guest, they get 0 or 2 points. It's not easy.
Does it always happen that way?
It's been. Remember, we had Vince Giordano, the band leader. He got like 0 or 2.
Oh.
And we had, who else played? Was it Charles Mee who played with us?
The Yiddishkeit.
Oh, Henry Sapoznik. Yeah. He was protecting his goose egg score. It just, it's, so Richard, don't feel bad if, you come up blank in this, because it's not easy. So, it's just for fun. It's just for play.
Yes.
Are you guys both ready?
Yes.
Richard, yeah?
Yeah.
Give us a nod. Excellent. Okay. So, now somebody won the right to go second. David, you go first.
Yeah.
This question is for you.
All
now,
right.
remember, both of you, that all these things happened on November 21st in history.
All right.
The year 1931.
Uh-huh.
Universal Pictures releases the horror classic Frankenstein.
Okay.
Now, we think of Boris Karloff as Frankenstein, but of course he played Dr. Frankenstein's monster. For 1 point, who played Dr. Frankenstein? And for the second, who directed the picture? So give it a moment's thought before you answer. Also, we sometimes ask our contestants to wait a moment or two before answering the question because people are playing at home.
David,
and it's a little
knows
delayed.
the coffee trick. He has his mug. He's ready.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Everybody has got their coffee and their beverages ready. So this is important.
The rabbi uses his mug.
I forgot about the rabbi. Well, no, he never got to. It's all right. So I'll ask the question again.
Okay.
1931 is the year. Universal Pictures releases Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff, except he's not actually Frankenstein, he's the monster. Who played Dr. Frankenstein? And for 1 other point, who directed the movie?
Okay. Dr. Frankenstein was played by an actor named Colin Clive. It's a lie! He's a lie! Oh, I know what it feels like to be God! They actually cut that line because it was seen as blasphemous.
Oh, wow.
And when you read the question about the direction, I paused for a minute, and then I remembered the film Gods and Monsters, which was with Ian McKellen as the director, now elderly in Hollywood.
Is that the one that had Martin Sheen? No, not Martin Sheen, Martin Landau.
No, that was Ed Wood.
Oh, okay.
As Bela Lugosi. But I remember there's a flashback where he remembers having gay orgies in his swimming pool, and one cute young man says to him, "Come into the pool, Jimmy." So it's somebody named James, and I think his name was James Whale.
Well, is that your answer? Are you going to go with that?
Yes, that's my answer.
Well, David Sheward. I don't have my xylophone with me. I just have my chicken. Well done. You have not one, but two. Oh, my xylophone. Yay. You have 2 points because, yes, that was absolutely correct. It was Colin Clive was the actor, and James Whale, the director. And by the way, both regrouped when they did Bride of Frankenstein. Second film.
Yes.
They were both involved in that. So David Sheward, early on the board with 2 points. Go Bullwinkle.
Yay.
Once we pull against the hat. Bristol. All right, here we go. It's time for Richard Shore. You get your first question of the yesterday trivia quiz.
Do I get points if I knew the other one?
No. The only time you get points is if you answer your own question right, or if they get it wrong and you can steal.
Well, I watched last week and I knew the answer to the Edward Hopper question. Does that count?
I don't know if we can take last week's points, you know.
Tell Richard, I choose C.
Yeah, just always say, I choose C.
Right, the millennial answer to I won points, no.
And actually, this next question is a multiple choice. So here we go. In a $50,000 deal, the New York Yankees got 6 ball players. Oh, this was, I forgot to write down the year. But
wait a minute.
I forgot to write down the year. Uh-oh.
Wait, Yankees?
Yeah, the New York Yankees that Lenny Schultz played for.
I'm from Boston.
Oh, well. But one of the players that the Yankees got in this deal was a fellow named Joe DiMaggio. Oh. Can you name the minor league club that dealt Joltin' Joe away? But it is a multiple choice. So it's going to be one of these, okay? Was it the East St. Louis Tigers, the San Francisco Seals, the Tennessee Sparrows, or the Miami Tomcats? Rather animalistic question here, and I'll read it again. In a $50,000 deal on this date, the New York Yankees got 6 ball players, one of them being Joe DiMaggio. But can you name the minor league club that dealt Joltin' Joe away? Was it the East St. Louis Tigers, the San Francisco Seals, the Tennessee Sparrows, or the Miami Tomcats?
I'm going to say the Sparrows.
The Tennessee Sparrows. That's letter. Hey, you did go with C. You went with letter C. Well, Richard. No, I'm so sorry, Richard. You did not get that answer correct. So David Sheward has a chance to steal this question of the minor league team that let go of Joltin' Joe. Was it the East St. Louis Tigers, the San Francisco Seals, the Tennessee Sparrows, or the Miami Tomcats?
So what was the first one?
First one was the East St. Louis Tigers.
With the Tigers, the Seals, or the Cats, or the Tomcats, or whatever that was.
Right. Miami Tomcats.
I really have no idea. When you first read the question, I was going to say the Toledo Mud Hens, which is
that's from MASH.
That's from MASH.
Yeah, which was fictional.
No, actually, they're real.
Oh, they're real. Oh, I should have added that as one of the choices. So,
East St. Louis. What's the other one?
East St. Louis Tigers, the San Francisco Seals, or the Miami Tomcats.
The San Francisco Seals.
Any particular reason you picked that one?
Well, usually in a multiple choice, it's not the first or the last one, so I picked the second one.
Whoa, some statistical work there by David Sheward. You get the seal of approval. You got that right? Oh, I got to start.
I get.
Questions, yeah. Oh my gosh, David Sheward with the steal. So, you got 4-0 now in this game.
I steal with the Seals.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Well, I guess if you answer a seal question, you oughter.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Peabody.
What? Sorry?
That's just one of the worst I've heard from you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
I'm flattered.
I expect higher quality.
Speaking of Bullwinkle, there was, at the end of Mr. Peabody and Sherman, the episodes, Peabody would always come up with a pun based on the historical figure, and Sherman would go, "Oh, Mr. Peabody!" Like, how could you make such a horrible joke?
Well, thanks, guys. Yeah. That's why I do this show, to be insulted by my friends. Right? I love it. David, you again get the next question, though. So you can really build on your lead here. If you get this right, the year.
Okay.
Where's the bubble?
Well, we need a sound effect. Hold on. The year, 1945. American workers went on a lengthy sit-down strike against which company? And I'll read the multiple choice. Eastman Kodak, Standard Oil, General Motors, Bethlehem Steel. I'll read the question again. 1945 American workers.
Kodak.
Oh, we're losing you. I'll read the question again.
Okay, am I
breaking up a little bit? American workers went on a lengthy sit-down strike against which company? Multiple choice. Eastman Kodak, Standard Oil, General Motors, or Bethlehem Steel.
I'm going to guess Bethlehem Steel.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Wow. David, you are just rocking it. Usually, but you got that one wrong. So that is not the correct answer. So, Richard Shore, you get a chance to steal this question. In 1945, American workers went on a lengthy sit-down strike against who? And I will read it once more. Was it Eastman Kodak, Standard Oil, General Motors, or Bethlehem Steel?
Well, this is right after World War II. So I'm guessing it's something that was very important up until the end of World War II, where people were mistreated. And then it's, okay, I'm going to say General Motors.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Wait, don't tell me sort of way. Richard. You got it right! Yes! Well done! Richard on the board, but you're already doing better than a lot of the guests who went up. You broke the curse of the goose egg on this. Well done! All right, and Richard, if you get this next question right, you get to tie with David. So it's
the tension.
It's unbearable. It really is.
We move up 1 year to 1946. Released today, and based on a McKinley Cantor novel called Glory for Me, this Oscar-winning film tells of Fred, Homer, and Al, three Midwesterners returning home after serving in World War II. For one time, I'm sorry, what was that?
Time of their lives.
Is that your final answer?
Well, give me the choices first.
No, this is not a multiple choice. But let me read the whole question. Let's read the whole question first. For 1 point, name the movie, and for the other, the director.
I think the movie is The Time of Their Lives, and the director. The director, I don't know. I'm just going to guess Frank Capra.
Final answer. So The Time of Their Lives and Frank Capra.
Well, it's either Frank Capra. It might be like Douglas Sirk. Although he's a little later. Let's say Frank Capra, just for fun.
Okay, I'm sorry, Richard. So, unfortunately, you're wrong, actually, on both counts. So I'll read the question again. David gets to steal.
Okay.
It was 1946, released today based on the novel Glory for Me by McKinley Cantor. This Oscar-winning film tells of Fred, Homer, and Al, three Midwesterners returning home after serving in World War II. For 1 point, please name the movie, and for the other, the director.
The title is The Best Years of Our Lives, and the director, I believe, is William Wyler.
Is that your final answer, though?
Yes.
Well, Potato, I'll remove his mask to see if you got that one right. Yep, that is, Richard, I couldn't give it to you because the name is not The Time of Their Lives. It was The Best Years of Our Lives. And it was directed by William Wyler. So well done. Whiling away our time with David Sheward and Richard Shore. David's got the big 6. Richard has 2. So now the next question does go to David. So
if you want a good vocal warm-up. You can try and say David's last name and my last name in rapid succession.
Short. It's not easy. Yeah, I was pretty sure it would be.
New one. That's
Oh,
new.
Mr. Peabody.
You have to do that now every time I make a bad thing. You realize that will be a thing now. That's good. When I make a bad pun.
Okay, a little bit higher because Sherman's voice was a little higher. Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Yes.
Tell David I love the color of his room.
And Joyce is saying she loves the color of your room, David. It's very
Oh,
nice.
thank you.
Very mellow, very, very restful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What color blue is that?
It's more of a green. It's called waterberry green.
Waterberry green. Very nice. And Richard, are you in white or sort of an off mauvey white, or what's that? No.
Well, it's called I haven't had a fresh coat of paint in 25 years.
Yeah, but what about the room? Thank you.
It's sort of off-white. I can tell it's off-white because I have some pictures here on the wall, and those frames are black and white, and so the white is brighter than what's on the wall.
Got it. So, and Joyce wants to know, I love days, your shirt.
I love days. Hold on. When my only problem
is which book to read.
Which book to read.
Yes.
It's basically every day for all of us.
I love those days too.
Yeah, but that is good. That is cool. Yay. I like that shirt.
I have another one that says I lack shelf control.
Yes, I get it. Yeah, I guess you have it covered.
Oh, Lord.
David.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. The next question does, I think, go to David now.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. The year was 1959.
The year of
In
my
a duet at the Black Tie Ball, Vice President Nixon played piano to accompany which performer and instrument? Is it a multiple choice?
All right.
Was it Louis Armstrong on the trumpet, Harpo Marx on the harp, Pablo Casals on cello, Jack Benny on the violin?
That's interesting. It could be any one of them.
1959, in a duet at the Black Tie Ball, Vice President Richard Nixon played piano to accompany, and it was an accompaniment and a piano, Richard, to accompany which performer and instrument? Was it Louis Armstrong on the trumpet, Harpo Marx on the harp, Pablo Casals on the cello, or Jack Benny on the violin?
Well, it could have been Harpo or Jack Benny, I think. I don't know why, that's just what's coming into my mind. And I don't think he would dare play with Louis Armstrong because Armstrong was a genius. And he probably wanted to be safe with somebody like Jack Benny, who would not show him up too much. But actually, Benny was actually a pretty good violin player. The bad violin playing was just a shtick.
I think he actually played with the Israel Philharmonic once.
Yeah. So I'll say Jack Benny.
You will say, okay. Is that your final, though?
Yes. No?
Well. Yes, you got it.
Oh, okay.
Good job. It was Benny on the violin. And by the way, that was answer D. So it wasn't B or C. It was an actual D answer.
Oh.
And D for David got it right.
Well,
So
I got Bethlehem Steel wrong, and that was D. So I figured maybe it could be D this time.
you got it. Well, it's currently 8-2 with David. So Richard, you've got some catching up to do, but it could happen. It could. And by the way, speaking of doing some catch up, we have to do this.
Oh dear.
Ow!
What is going on off camera?
I don't think I want to know.
You never saw this, Richard, did you? Is this beautiful?
I don't think it cuts the mustard.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Okay.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah.
More jokes like that, you'll have to take me to the Mayo Clinic.
It's
And
okay. I relish things like that.
Okay.
Oh!
And they would end each episode with this like trumpet going blah, 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 when they had a particularly bad pun.
I'm proud of all the puns, good and bad.
Either that one or the Aesop's Fables.
Yes. All right, so now here's the deal, Richard. You got some work cut out for you. but we do have more questions and more perhaps opportunities to steal as well. Let's see how you do when we go all the way to 1981. Hitting #1 on the Billboard charts today and staying there for 10 weeks is Physical by Olivia Newton-John. Which of these is not true about the lovely Livy? Was it, okay, it's a multiple choice. Which of these is not?
I'm not liking these multiple choice.
All right, well, yeah. Was it that her grandfather was a physicist? She was set to star in the Australian premiere of Seussical until her cancer thing canceled that. Her relatives are comical. She's a distant cousin of English comedian Ben Elton. Or she once got political, canceling a tour of Japan to protest their commercial tuna fishing. So, those are the choices. I'll read the question again. The year was 1981. #1 on Billboard charts today was, and it stayed there for 10 weeks, Physical by Olivia Newton-John. Which of these is not true about Olivia Newton-John? Was it that her, the woman who sang Physical, her grandfather was a physicist? She was set to star in the Australian premiere of Seussical, but never got to. Her relatives are comical. She's a distant cousin of Ben Elton. Or she once got political, canceling a tour of Japan to protest their commercial tuna fishing. Which of these is not true?
Well, see, I'm a little torn here because the first time you read them and you got to Seussical, you actually added on that it had to get canceled because of her cancer, which makes it sound like a real thing. On the other hand, the leading role in Seussical is Horton, which is usually played by a man. So, I'm going to say Seussical.
You're going to say that the Seussical is the thing that did not happen, that it was...
Yeah.
Well, Richard, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you 2 points because you just got that one right. Well done. Because Seussical, the lead in Seussical was first played by a man, but then Rosie O'Donnell took it over on Broadway. So it was, it was a little tougher question than that. But either way, your logic was absolutely there. By the way, her grandfather, Max Born, was not only a Nobel Prize winner.
Her grandfather was Max Born?
Yep. And she's Jewish. Go figure. Olivia Newton-John.
Quantum physics.
Yeah.
No, Bohr was the model of the atom.
The atom he posed so that the atom could configure itself in the right way.
There you go. Yeah, he was also a famous sculptor.
Really? I guess he was born to it. Oh no, he wasn't a Anyway, and by the way, that was true about the tuna thing. It wasn't so much that she cared about tuna, but the nets were killing her beloved dolphins. So the tuna fishing was killing the dolphins that she cared about a lot. And she is a cousin of Ben Elton.
Who is Ben Elton? Never heard of him.
English comedian and writer. He wrote Blackadder. Yeah. And anyway, but well done, Richard. Richard, you're catching up. It's now 8-4 with David still in the lead.
Okay.
And, however, still able now to build upon that lead. We're playing the Today-Yesterday game, by the way, on Dave's Gone By. The year 2013, released today, is the Grammy-winning hit song and Billboard Song of the Year, whose lyrics begin, "It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space." For 1 point, name the artist. For another point, name the song.
Oh, this I'm not good at this part because it's more recent stuff with music. I'm not as good at.
I will read it again. The
Okay.
year was 2013.
Yeah.
It's the Grammy-winning hit song Billboard Song of the Year. The lyrics begin, "It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space."
Well, it's not, so it's a male singer, I'm guessing. And what was, oh, I don't know. Jason, what's that guy's name? I'm gonna guess Bruno Mars, and the song is called Helium. I don't know.
Bruno Mars, Helium, which is, by the way, a terrific guess, but it is an incorrect guess.
Okay.
So, Richard, you do get to try and steal this question of, in 2013, big Grammy-winning song, Billboard Song of the Year. Do you need me to read the lyrics again?
Won't help, but go ahead.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space.
I have less of an idea than David had. I'm gonna say Taylor Swift, and the song is Rising High.
You guys do really good guesses, really good, educated, smart guesses. In this particular case, though, no, the answer is not correct. Maybe if I gave the hint of like, okay, I might say I'm crazy what I'm about to say. She's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. Why? Why is this person saying this? Because
they're high.
Or they're...
Rocket?
No, or they're... This is for no points, by the way. This is just...
Okay. Well, that's why I said helium, you know.
Potato will give sort of a hint.
They're a hat? A ribbon?
Rising.
Round?
No, what is he wearing, dude?
Wearing a hat.
Yeah, see, a hat.
Yeah, who wears the most ridiculous hat in show business?
Hedda Hopper?
No, the
Gaga?
No, I mean, no, not a hat made of meat. Just a regular, normal. Oh, you should have gotten this. Well, David, sure, you could have gotten this because Rocky Bullwinkle. Where's that taking place?
In Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
Oh, so where's Nell and...
Oh, in Canada.
Right. Where they have... She's in love with a...
Horse.
I beg your pardon?
Well, Nell is in love with Dudley's horse.
And he's a Mountie, and he wears kind of a Mountie-esque... Who wears a ridiculous Mountie hat?
Mounties.
Oh, forget it.
You don't know. Just tell us.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known this either. I mean, I write the questions. I don't necessarily know them. But the thing is, because I'm happy, because
No.
Seriously,
no.
The song Happy by Pharrell Williams?
Oh, okay.
I couldn't hear that.
Oh, it was Happy by Pharrell Williams. The look on Richard's face is priceless, like, all right. It's Chaim Yankel from the Bronx. It's idea.
I've heard that name, Pharrell Williams, but I'm not really familiar with his work at all.
It was a huge song. It's a really annoying song because it goes on for like 4 minutes, but it's very, very catchy. It's called Happy by Pharrell Williams. And so, if you go play it on YouTube, you'll go, oh, this song. Yeah, it's that song.
Yeah, I'll go to YouTube right after this.
What? You won't. Richard said he won't. Well, a little bit you guys are dropping out. So if I look at you and go, what did you say? It's because the verbiage got dropped out. But we are still in the game, and the game is still 8-4 with David Sheward leading. So that question had gone to Richard. He couldn't get it. David couldn't get it.
No, that went to David.
David, you were first on that one? Oh, that's right. David went, and you couldn't steal Richard. So that means, Richard, you get the next question.
Yes.
This one's for you. The year 2017, okay, just a couple of years ago. After 37 years in power, this African Marxist was ousted by his own party just before his impeachment and likely criminal prosecution. And he would die 2 years later. Name this anti-white, anti-gay, equally loved and hated leader.
17. I mean, can you say the question again?
Of course I will. We'll read it again. 2017, after 37 years in power, This African Marxist was ousted by his own party just before his impeachment and likely criminal prosecution. He would die 2 years later. Can you name this anti-white, anti-gay, equally loved and hated leader? Richard Shore.
Well, I think it's too recent for this answer. I want to say Mubarak. Oh, Joyce just groaned.
She doesn't have the answer. She doesn't see the answer sheet.
I don't know anything, Richard. I just live here.
I think it's too recent for Mubarak. The Arab Spring was earlier than that. But that's the only name that's coming to mind. Unless it was the guy from Liberia, whose name I can't remember. So it's wrong, but I'm going to say Mubarak.
You're going to say Mubarak? I'm afraid you're wrong, Richard Shore. That is not the correct answer. So I will.
Do I get points for knowing I was wrong?
If only we all did in life. If only. But no, you do not. But especially since David gets a chance to steal this question, who, after 37 years in power, just 3 years ago, this African Marxist was ousted by his own party just before his impeachment and likely criminal prosecution. He would die 2 years later. Name this anti-white, anti-gay, equally loved and hated leader.
I am going to say Robert Mugabe.
Are you going to say?
Is it Trump?
Joyce is saying it's Trump. It's not Trump, even though he's.
It only feels like that long with Trump.
Yeah.
So what did you said? Who again?
Robert Mugabe.
That is absolutely correct. It was Zimbabwe, or Rhodesia when he started. It was Zimbabwe when he left. Robert Mugabe was the person, 37 years in power, and there was so much corruption and so much whatever going on that, yeah, he was pulled from power. All right. Well, David Sheward, you're kind of running away with this one. We'll do two more questions.
Okay.
This one goes to you.
All right.
Right. So here we go. You can build upon your lead.
Lin-Manuel Noriega. I was going to say that for the African leader question.
Richard,
he gets 100 points. He should win.
Well, I should explain for no real reason. My wife hates everything to do with Hamilton and Lin-Manuel.
I have to admit, I paid a fortune to see the thing, and it's a wonderful show, but it wasn't my taste. It didn't really do much for me.
Did you watch it on Disney? Did you try and see it again?
I watched it on Disney, so I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
And the thing that bothered me about Disney was it was all close-ups, so you never got a really good feel for what the ensemble was doing.
Huh. All right. But it's television.
And the ensemble is amazing in that show.
Oh, all right. Huh. Well, I guess that's the reason. That's why when Broadway comes back, Hamilton, yeah, we know you saw us on TV, but you're not seeing the show.
But I saw it in person too.
I'm sorry?
I saw it in person too.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember you went to see it. I was like, well, how is it? Because I didn't see it. So, yeah. But this is the thing. This is why a Broadway show can say, okay, you've seen the movie. Okay, you've seen the video of this. Still not the same. This is still why you have to pay $800 million.
Did you see it on Broadway?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
So cool. All right.
I had a great seat.
I'm sorry?
I had a great seat.
Oh, well, you paid for it, yeah. All right, who's got the next question? I believe it's, David Sheward. Wow.
Yeah.
The year, all right, it was November 21st, 1980.
Okay.
After waiting 7 months, 350 million people around the world tune in to television's popular primetime drama, Dallas, to find out who shot J.R. Ewing. For 1 point, who did? And for the second, how are they connected to J.R.?
Oh, now this is a problem because I never really watched that show or cared about it. I think and because I remember there was one season that was totally Patrick Duffy's in the shower, and the whole last season was a dream. I think it was somebody named Bobby, and I think it was his brother.
No,
Okay.
apparently not. I thought I remembered that being sort of the case too, but it wasn't. Richard Shore, do you know who shot J.R.?
Well, the actress was Bing Crosby's granddaughter. I know that, although I don't remember the name of the character. And I think it was his daughter. It was either his daughter or his lover, or else it was the same thing.
And that show, yeah.
Yeah, really. I'm gonna say it was his daughter.
Oh, I can't really give you any points on that either. It may well have been, I actually don't know. It might have been the Crosby actress, but I don't have that name. I do. The name of the character was Kristen Shepherd. That's what we were looking for. And it wasn't, thank God, it wasn't that sick. It wasn't his daughter. It was his daughter-in-law, who was his mistress. So, so that is the correct answer. I don't know. Can we give him, if it was Crosby who played that character?
Was she his mistress?
Yeah, apparently she was sleeping with. Yeah, I know.
Ew.
I know. Well, it's Dallas, for God's sakes. You know.
I was going like that for Larry Hagman. No.
I remember when it was revealed, I was in high school, and we had a performance of a show called Good Morning, Mrs. Dove.
Oh.
No, Miss Dove.
Miss Dove. Yes.
Yeah. It was a spinster.
And it was a musical?
No.
Oh, so what? So,
It sounds like a musical.
oh, were you teaching? Were you playing piano in high school? Or you weren't in high school back then?
No, I was on stage in high school.
Acting. I didn't realize that. I thought you were in the pit from the beginning. Oh,
No. First pit I played was for an interpretation of the Nutcracker. I was still in high school, and my high school music teacher got me involved, and it was 2 pianos, and I can't remember the title of the show, but it was at the Hasty Pudding Club.
Well, yeah, 'cause he's a Harvard guy, just in case you didn't know.
Well, but I was still in high school at the time.
Oh, right.
But that's the first time I played for a show professionally.
Wow.
But in high school, I was an actor.
I did not realize this. So what did you play in Miss Dove?
I played a Broadway producer, and I came up with, I'm listening to her read a play or something, and I came up with a routine where she's talking, and I lose my shoe under the couch. And then I try and retrieve the shoe, and I end up sticking my foot in her face. And so this was a comic routine I came up with.
Wow.
We were in rehearsal one night, and I just said, let me try something. And I did this routine, and everybody was on the floor, totally pulling focus.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. I by the way, this was a Eugene O'Neill tragedy, so it was a very weird thing to know.
I was also Tevye in high school, and Snoopy.
Oh,
Tevye is.
I see Tevye. Snoopy. That surprises me.
I was a lot younger and a lot thinner.
I get it, but wow. Huh.
Yeah. No, I did a lot of shows also in high school.
On stage, you were an actor too. So what was your which role stuck with you the most?
Oh wow, as a matter of fact, I did do Long Day's Journey into Night in Philadelphia.
Were you Jamie or Edmund? Who were you?
I was the younger son. Edmund. Edmund.
Yeah.
And my father, the guy who played my father, couldn't remember his lines. So every night in our big confrontation scene, he would lose his place. And I had to say, Oh, Papa, did you mean to say that?
You got to pay the Con Ed bill every time we
Yeah.
turn on the light here?
Did you
Yeah.
mean to say that you were starving as a child in Ireland and then you got into acting? Is that what you meant to say? Oh, yeah, that was it.
Oh, yikes. Yikes.
Oh, Dave, just for your edification, the first show I ever music directed was Guys and Dolls.
Oh.
Whoa. Cool.
And that was freshman year in college.
At Harvard, was it? Or was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did anybody, I'm wondering, in that show, did anybody become famous?
Famous, I don't know how you describe famous, but the guy we had playing Nathan Detroit went on into a career writing musicals. His name was Rick Fryer.
I was?
Oh, so you said the word Fryer, and it just, yeah.
I was in a production of The Crucible in college, and one of the actresses in it later went on to appear in Dynasty for one season.
Who?
Her name was Karen Cellini, and she took over, I think it was Catherine Oxenberg who left the show.
Right.
And she came on for like the last season.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and I've got another from Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
Our Sarah went on to a career in opera. Her name was Nan Hughes.
Oh.
She was a wonderful soprano.
Oh my, this is so cool. This is I love this catching up and all that. I'm trying to think if I ever acted opposite anyone who went on to anything. I don't think Rabbi Sol Solomon. No, I never acted with Seth. I made movies with Fred Armisen. That's about as.
And I did see in college, when I went to college, Holly Hunter and Cherry Jones were in shows. I didn't act with them, but I saw them in shows.
Could you tell? Did they stand out a little bit, or was everybody good? And they were as good as everybody else?
Cherry Jones was a little bit better than everybody else. Holly Hunter she had a very distinct personality and a very heavy Southern accent.
Wow. Yeah, makes sense. And Richard, how about you?
As far as
what question should I just ask?
I mean,
could you tell?
I did know. I never did a show with her, but Amy Brenneman.
Oh yeah.
She did the TV show Judging Amy.
Right, and NYPD Blue, I think, or one of those police was where she was.
I don't remember. But I would say that's my closest brush with fame.
Right. Okay. And I'm just wondering if sometimes you can tell back then.
I was sort of friends with Tamara Tooney, who later showed up on Law and Order, SVU, or one of the Law and Orders.
Forget Law and Order. She has been on this program.
Oh, okay.
Law and Order. She's a friend of the Daverhood. That's the important thing right there. Yeah.
I was kind of acquaintances with her. She was a friend of a friend.
Okay.
I didn't really know her, but I knew enough to say hello. How are you? And that was.
Well, you wouldn't say it today. You would say it tomorrow.
Oh, you know what they say? Oh, here today, gone tomorrow.
Oh,
Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. There we go.
God help us.
That's the worst thing I ever heard. Now let's have some spam, love.
Oh, I thought he'd do the waitress. He's doing the waitress. Yay. All right, we're going to finish this up because we've got one more question.
Okay.
David, you kind of won the day, but we do have one more question in our quiz, just a question, just for fun, for poops and giggles. Let's who does get the question? Richard. So let's see. You have 4 points, Richard. Let's see if we can get 6. Tiebreaker. Go all the way back to 1934. It's amateur night at the Apollo. A 17-year-old dancer comes on stage, but intimidated by a dancing act earlier in the night, she decides to sing instead and wins first prize. Soon, she will be recording with bandleader Chick Webb, with whom she had her biggest hit. Name that dancer turned singer.
Well, Chick Webb is Ella Fitzgerald. But I didn't know she danced. But Chick Webb is Ella Fitzgerald. So I'm going to say Ella Fitzgerald.
Why do you seem so consternated? That is the answer to the question. She was good at a dancer.
I never knew she was a dancer.
Yeah, well, she really, really is. She was like 17 years old. She went on stage. She was going to dance, but they had this other act that the audience loved, the dance act. It's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sing. And she ended up singing 2 songs, winning first prize, and starting her singing career.
1934 at the Apollo. It could have been the Nicholas brothers.
No, it was an act I never heard of. And if it's on Wiki, it says who they were. Well, no, nobody would want to follow the Nicholas brothers, but yeah.
I saw Ella perform once with Oscar Peterson and his trio.
Whoa, yeah.
So you can imagine how amazing that was. And they were doing Old MacDonald.
Huh.
And halfway through the song, she forgot what animal came next in the list. And she couldn't remember the lyrics. And she said, chick, chick here, lamb, lamb there, or whatever. And she couldn't remember what came next. And she said, to heck with it. And just went on from there.
Yeah, I mean, she's scagging anyway. It doesn't really matter what animal she's, I'm doing that the next. I hear her. Everywhere. Oh, McDonald. He had a palm. Yes. Well, a test skit. Here is the final count of our today-yesterday game for this Saturday morning. David Sheward, the victor, with 10 beautiful points. But Richard Shore, a very, very respectable 6.
Thank you.
Well, I would say a bravo on that. A hearty bravo. This was delightful. I first of all want to remind everybody that they can read David Sheward's work in 3 different places. There's culturalweekly.com. Yes? Did I finally get that right, David? Oh, he's frozen. There's also the David Desk, the blog. And then there is Theater Life.
Oh, I'm back. Am I back?
You're back. You're back. I was just promoting the stuff that you're writing for.
Yes, I heard you.
Culturalweekly.com and theaterlife.com. Did I finally get all 3 of those right?
Yes, and you said the David Desk?
Yes, I did say the David Desk. Yes,
Okay.
Well done. So read his stuff. He's still writing about theater, about, what are you writing about? Are you writing about Zoom shows or what?
Oh, sorry. Yes, whatever happens. And like I just did a blog post about what some shows have made announcements about when they're going to be opening.
Right.
And about the fact that the Tony Awards have been delayed again.
Oh, so they're not going to be in December. They're going to do some kind of special about Broadway in December.
It's not clear when they're going to do the Tonys, because I think they want to be closer to when all the shows are opening again, so that people will want to buy tickets.
It made no sense to suddenly, out of the middle of nowhere in December, unless they were going to start again in March, which they're not. So it
won't be till June.
Yeah, or at the earliest. I don't know. Now Richard Shore is with us as well. So do you have like a blog? You post a lot on Facebook, but if people want to maybe hire you for, or you don't even care, you're not playing for shows anymore, certainly, or do you accompany people in synagogues? Do you still do the cantorial work? What do you do?
I'm not doing anything right now. I had a wonderful job that I loved. I absolutely adored it. And I was teaching children ages 9 to 13 voice and musical theater performance. So I was sort of a vocal coach for these young children, and I was absolutely adoring it. And then they cut everything back with the pandemic.
Right.
We were just a couple of days short of our spring performance, and they canceled everything.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to work with them in the summer. That got all messed up, and now I looked at their website yesterday, actually, and it looks pretty dead. So it was a job
there we go again.
The
I
children
loved
are actually dead. It's very tragic. They actually died. So no.
Yes.
Yeah, but here's a Richard. If you are interested, there's actually a site that I belong to where they're hiring teachers and tutors. Would you still teach in person as well as distant, or would you teach distant?
I would need to figure out how to teach distant. I would teach one-on-one, at a distance, possibly with masks, depending on who it was. I wouldn't want to teach a group.
Right. All right.
As a matter of fact, I recently turned down a job at a high school because I was too worried about the pandemic.
Yeah, I know. I don't blame you. And you know what? In 2 weeks, like high school will be probably virtual anyway. And
As of the 30th, yeah, they're going back to that.
So send them your resume again and just say, hey, well, but anywho, well, best of luck, best of health to both of you. Rich, I mean, you don't have to say right now, but I'd like to invite, of course, both of you back next Saturday, November 28th, during sort of the Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
So if you want to come back and do our today-yesterday quiz, I think that would be really great. We'll actually, Joyce is saying we'll be twerking on the show, so we'll get a Thanksgiving twerky. So yeah, you don't have to say now, but we'd love to have you back to do the show. I think it'll be about 10:30 or 10:45. We'll let you know, and you can.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
Why is that?
He sleeps late.
Oh, because it's so late for you. Well, maybe
Early.
at 10:46. Just for you. So
that makes a difference.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for being on Dave's Gone By this Saturday, November 21st. Stay well. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're very thankful that you've been here on the show, and we'll see you guys real soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Richard.
Bye, David.
Bye-bye. And stay healthy. Talk to you. Oh, only left. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you are watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. My amazing wife, Joyce, who has just been so incredibly helpful on this episode. You toss me that envelope so I can read people who have been. Oh my God!
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Oh my God! Look at all the people who have been.
People have different last names. That's why I'm writing letters.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same name.
Let me get all these names here. We've got Don, Amy, Tom, Jason, Michael, Honey, Glenn, Roy, Stephen, Ken, Charles, Rosie, Tad, or maybe Ted, Stephen, Jim, I think that is, Peter, Victoria, Chris, Lisa, Jeff, James, Joel, C, Bo. Oh, Bo's back. Bo.
Yes.
Joel N, Alan, Peter N, Sharon, Ralph, Alan, Honey came back, Dole.
Yes, and Chris, and there's another Chris.
There's Glenn, there's Jim, there's a Chris who just joined us, Jamie, Philip, Ray, James F, a different James, Gregory, and Jan, and Eric, Nick, Bert, Michael, Mark B, Bobby, Don, Sharon, Sandy, James D, I believe that is, Lisa W, Mark P, Patricia, David, another James, James G, woo, couple more folks, Carrie, Matthew, Ehrlich first name?
No, that's last name.
Wow. Edmund, Gregory, Chris, and Karis, I believe, Charis, and Alan. Whew. And so many others. Now, we can't give a shout out to all of you. You know, we miss people, or Facebook doesn't show us, and we don't have time to break in and announce all the folks who are watching in this show. But believe me, it means a lot that you're all tuned in on Saturday mornings to watch Dave's Gone By, a mix of humor and talk and well, not music so much, but culture, and just doing what we do here in the Daverhood. So, my gosh, we've had wonderful time with Lenny Schultz. We've gone inside Broadway. We have our Today, Yesterday quiz. We have just a bit more to do on the show. We have a Wretched Pun of Destiny, as well as our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But it occurs to me, we haven't even gone to Greeley, Colorado yet for Greeley Crimes in Old Times. Now, this is a segment we've been doing for a few years now that we started when Joyce and I were living in northern Colorado. There's a newspaper there called the Greeley Tribune. And in the Tribune every week, there are two columns that are put together just for fun. One of them is called Cop Log, and these are ridiculous phone calls that come into the Greeley Police Station dispatch, and it's public record. And the weirdest, funniest ones are compiled by Trevor Reed for the newspaper into a column once a week. There's also another column that our friend Mike Peters does that is called 100 Years Ago. And he goes through the Tribune newspaper back in 1920 and picks out the goofiest, most nostalgic items in the paper back then? Well, we mix up those old and new items into a segment that we call Greeley Crimes and Old Times. La 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 la, la 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 la, fiddly-dee, fiddly-dee-dee. So yeah, it takes the onus off me because I don't have to write anything. I just let you know what they put in the papers. So are you ready, dear, for some crimes and old times? This is actually in the newspaper this week. Oh boy, after a long wait, the Hatchet House opened its doors on Friday a week ago actually. Greeley now has its first axe throwing bar. It offers, you know you're not in New York, kids. It offers a fun and unique activity, as well as a way to blow off some steam in a controlled, safe environment. Patrons, do you know where the bar is, by the way? It's in the old Florio Shoes building. Remember that place?
Oh, I love the Florio brothers. They were a little creepy, but they like to touch your feet.
Well, they did.
Remember years ago when they'd measure your feet, they loved to do that.
Well, because those guys had soul. Oh. Although one of them was a heel. Yes, indeed. I'm having a ball here. But ladies, get balls on the feet. Patrons to the bar can take part in chucking axes at wooden targets. And the axes range from 1.25 pounds up to 3 pounds. Because what goes bigger? You know, what
Wait.
you get people in a bar, they're drinking. What better fun could they have than picking up an axe and throwing it? Now, there are coaches. They're hiring people to be coaches on the lanes who will teach everybody how to throw and then how to play games like cornhole, darts, and human versus zombie. There's a 3-drink, go figure, there's a 3-drink limit on alcoholic beverages.
There should be a no-drink limit.
Wouldn't it be great if they had Axe Day at Yankee Stadium?
Hey, listen, they won't even let you bring the bottle top.
No, but back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s, they had Yankee and baseball at back day. So you have these guys sitting there drinking beer after beer in the hot sun, and now they're holding back.
Oh my God. What's wrong with
You think something went wrong there sometimes? You think that was so I'm just thinking Axe Day would be amazing. Anyway, true story. So if you want to go play hatchets, you can do that in Greeley now, at least up until 10 o'clock.
Giorgio joined.
Welcome to Giorgio. Welcome to the show.
Giorgio?
Giorgio. This is also a recent phone call to the Greeley Police Department. Oh, here we go. A couple at a convenience store got upset when they were told that they couldn't use the bathroom. So what did they do?
No, they do pee-pee in the store.
Actually, no. They did not do that. What did they do instead?
They punched the owner.
Nope, non-violent.
They ran out screaming.
Maybe, but no, that's not all they did.
This?
What else would you do? They couldn't use the bathroom, so they dumped nacho cheese all over the counter.
Ew.
You know, and the owner kept saying, "Hey, it's nacho cheese, is mine." But I don't know. So, anywho, let's go to something old-timey here. How else do we know, because we're talking about a hatchet-throwing bar, how else do we know that Greeley, Colorado is not New York?
Wait. How many?
This is 100 years ago, though. Several Greeley residents received gifts in the dandelion contest. The winners are residents with the fewest dandelions in their yards, keeping them free of, quote, the yellow peril.
Weeds.
I know they're weeds, but they're pretty. Local stores donated the 15 prizes, which ranged from $3 in chicken feed to a pair of new automobile tires. I just love this idea of like a really old-timey that was, people back in 1920 were probably saying a dandelion and they're paying us in chicken feet. What is this, kind of from the 1800s? Oh, well, an automobile tire would be a new thing. Oh, sad news, dear, sad news. The world's heaviest woman died in England this week. I mean, this is 100 years ago.
This is of all times.
Yeah, Lucy Moore, who was an American.
Why was she in London?
I guess she traveled the world in show business and received several proposals of marriage.
Nice.
Lucy Moore, she was an American. How much? This is the amazing thing. How much do you think she weighed?
I don't know.
World's heaviest woman. Take a wild.
A ton?
No.
I don't know.
This is the really sad part about how we've changed in 100 years. Lucy Moore weighed 668 pounds as the heaviest woman. Now she wouldn't even get on a TV show. She wouldn't even, the 600-pound life, she would just barely qualify. We now have so many people who top the scale at 1,400 pounds and Robert Earl Hughes weight. So it's kind of amazing how small we were as a culture back then, that the heaviest woman in the whole universe was less than 700 pounds. Oh my goodness. But the Greeley City Dads Club met this week. These are male Greeley businessmen, and they meet regularly. This week, and oh, what fun they must have had, they discussed the number 3 ditch. Would you bother? Would you go and meet with a group of guys and just to talk about the number 3 ditch? No, I do not think I would.
But maybe I might be, maybe the number 2 ditch, but not the 3.
Now, I was talking about a cat before. I was talking about my coworker's cat. Yeah. An animal control officer responded to 19th Street, where a cat was sitting outside someone's home all through the night. The caller tried to shoo the cat away, but it wouldn't leave. That is the whole story.
That is something that we need to wait. Hold on one second. Call the National Guard.
Well, at least they didn't call 911. At least they didn't call the regular police. They called animal control. But it's there's a cat. It's looking at me. It's kind of sitting there.
That's evil.
Can we have some
Although I did see
fire
when
engines?
I was talking to DVT,
Yeah.
I did see a squirrel who was hissing on the tree, like making that sound.
Well, you gotta worry if rabies. I get it. You don't want to shoo them off and have them suddenly clawing your face.
No way.
Police responded. Oh my! Police responded to a hotel.
Oh, it was my cue. Sorry. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I'm doing too many things at once now.
Police responded to a hotel on 8th Street where a man who goes by the name Country.
Wait, hold on. I had a student who was huge when I was at Fordham, and they called him Chicken because he came from the country. Oh. The guy was the size of a mountain. He was a huge young man, and they called him Chicken. And I kept saying, "What are you talking about? A chicken?" It was him.
Because he was. It could be. Well, this guy was literally not even called Chicken. He was Country.
Country.
And by the way, isn't a country what vaginas grow on? Anywho, think about it. He was accused of trespassing, but the man is in his own country. He's totally allowed. He can trespass anywhere. He is his own country, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing Greeley Crimes Old Times on Dave's Gone By. It is Saturday, November 21st, 2020. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That's my wonderful wife, Joyce. This is the 773rd episode of Dave's Gone By. We're calling it, of course, Go Crazy, Lenny, in honor of Lenny Schultz, who was our guest earlier in the show. We're finishing up the show. We've got Greeley Crimes Old Times that we're in the middle of. We've got our Colorado Limerick to come and our Wretched Pun of Destiny. So let's do just a little more of Greeley Crimes and Old Times. I want to let you know that many, many years ago, Weld County Commissioner T.E. Rowe and Weld County Surveyor L.L. Stimson.
How come they use so many in there?
Everything's got initials.
GLQRT.
Yeah. What was it back then? They used the L.T.E. Rowe and L.L. Stimson.
Why do they do that?
You know, and kind of interesting that next week on this program, our guest is going to be the singer B.J. Thomas.
Oh,
and,
no.
And you figure of all the initials.
That's too much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But these are T.E. Rowe and L.L. Stimson. They each paid a $10 fine in court this week for a disturbance. Just before the election, the two county officials had to be stopped by a police officer when they got into a fist fight on the street. That's fun. That's the way politics really used to be.
Why? I don't get it. That's just so crazy.
Yeah. Much as I loathe and despise Mitch McConnell, that's the one thing he's not going to do with, like, you know, anybody, with Lindsey Graham or with, you know, Kamala Harris. You know, there's not going to be a fist fight involved. But these two guys. Oh, I want to let you know, by the way, that at Hibbs Clothing, boys' suits and ties are on sale for $10 to $17. All suits come with 2 pairs of pants, and all clothing is sold for cash only. Can you imagine getting a suit with 2 pairs of pants for $17?
I think that's great.
I mean, it's boys, but still, man. And I think when they say the boys, they actually mean just like guys.
Boys? Like,
Yeah.
I think boys are children. Like boys are like husky boys. You know?
Maybe. It could be. Anyway, let's do another. Oh, you know what we want to do?
What?
We do have a something far away, because on Greeley Crimes Old Times.
This, like, they loved the interview with
Lenny.
Lenny. Somebody said classic, and then somebody said thank you. This was so cool. Somebody gave you the peace sign, and somebody said, "This is amazing. Thanks, Mark."
You know,
who Mark is? Do you know who Mark is?
I have no idea who Mark is. I can thank you, Mark.
Did anybody named Mark appear on the show?
No.
No. Okay.
Maybe someone named Mark pointed them towards the show. They had never watched before.
Of course, naturally.
I don't know. Well, I get high marks for the program. And we did mention the Marxist dictator Robert Mugabe before. So anyway.
I don't know who Mark is. I'm going to write back and say, who's Mark?
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say that?
Yeah, sure. There's no Mark here, you know. We're going to go outside of Greeley, Colorado for this item in Greeley Crimes Old Times, because most of our stuff is taken from the Greeley Trib. It's taken from those 2 columns. But this one comes all the way from Indonesia.
Ooh, Indonesia. Ooh.
Joshua Hutagalung.
David, don't say that.
In fact, I say it wrong. It's Hutagalung. I'm sorry. Joshua Hutagalung, age 33. Oh, what a wonderful job he has. He is a coffin maker from Sumatra. He is now also a millionaire.
What happened?
Mr. Hutagalung, I'll pronounce it right one day, was working outside his home in August when, what do you think happened, dear?
A coffin fell on his head.
No. Nope. Something bigger than a coffin.
An airplane?
You got the right idea, but think even bigger. Well, no, don't think bigger. Think different, but you got the right idea. He was working outside his home in August when a 4-pound meteorite smashed through the tin roof of his veranda. Quote, the sound was so loud that parts of the house were shaking, and when I lifted it, the stone, it was still warm. Unlike everything else that this guy works in his job. But he picked up the meteorite and he sold it for $1.3 million. He shared photos of the meteorite on Facebook, where they have created a flurry of interest. I guess they make him a rock star. You know, you think the stories on this show are kind of thin, they're kind of watery. I'm saying our stories just keep getting meatier and meatier. Give me some space. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more Greeley Crimes and Old Times and call the segment for this week, this Saturday, November 21st. Thank you, sir. No, you've got to do the, Dave's not here, so Dave's not here, man. You've got to do the Oh, Mr. Peabody.
I don't know how to. I don't even know that reference because I'm ignorant of culture.
All right, here we go.
Culture of culture.
A woman.
Wait, I can give you a woman. Hold on.
She's not screaming really though, but yeah. A woman at a mobile home park said some. You're not seeing this on camera, but Joyce is taking the tea that I make for her in the morning, hot tea, which then cools off in her thermos, and she's shaking it like the shake weight, which is giving me very weird kind of sexual feelings because it is my wife, but she's holding that like you don't want to know. Anyway, how does that taste when you shake it like that?
What I do is I break the tea back so I get more strength when we leave.
You mean you physically want to break up and have all those little?
I need like strength in my tea. I can't drink weak tea. I went with a student. So my one student was from Morocco. She's like, we're gonna get really good tea. We had to go to like 10 places where we live to get good tea. It's almost impossible.
Wow.
Nobody knows how to brew good tea.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. If you get good tea, you know the prices?
What?
They're steep. They're steep. Yeah.
They still won't say who Mark is. I don't know.
That was a slam dunk, by the way.
Who's this Mark person?
I don't know who that Mark is. Anyway, so here's the deal. A woman at a mobile home park said someone left a Halloween decoration on her door to scare her. The decoration said, "You're next." That would scare me. Of all the things that you would put on a door, if you're going to say, like, "You're next."
Well, can I just say this? Not to be silly, but I'm reading over the interviews I did with older adults in that same county.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the mobile home or the trailer park say that there's no sense of community. Remember all the quotes? So there might be this kind of like, your neighbors, but it's almost like living in a building in New York where you're acquaintances. Like there's not much interaction, right? So I would be scared.
Yeah. I would assume that all these people in these mobile home parks, they meet, they fall in love, they marry. Well, they get hitched. I just wreck me. I do. Let's do one more in Greeley Crimes and Old Times. So you tell me, should it be a crime or an old time here?
It should be a crime. And hopefully it's on 18th and 8th.
That
8th
joke.
and 8th. That would be
my jokes are a crime. Okay, here we go.
No, your jokes are beautiful.
Oh, this is beautiful. This is wonderful. Oh, by the way, that one about the Halloween thing, that was on Halloween. So it was like a Halloween prank
No, but
thing.
I'm telling you something. That would scare me. If somebody left anything on my thing that said, "You're next."
Definitely. That would creep me out even on Halloween. So these next two, we'll end with this because these both happened.
Give me 1 second.
Sure. Oh, all right. Hold on.
Okay.
Joyce is checking some water. Hold on.
No, I have to say.
She types so fast with one finger. It's amazing. No, I'm serious. I can't do it. I've been a good typist all my life.
This is my curse, right? My brain works faster than my typing because my grandmother said to me, "Never learn to type because you shouldn't be a secretary."
She's wrong about that. It'd be really helpful.
She was gendered in the sense, like, she was gender free. I never had gender restrictions.
She had no genitals?
No, no, but I never had that restriction like a lot of people. Like, you need to be a certain role. They were like, do what you want, but don't limit yourself to any role based on some functional ability.
Yeah. No, me, I was the idiot. I took not only typing in high school, which I'm very, very glad I did, but I took shorthand, which was the most useless, wasted.
But you're an excellent typist. You scored #1 on your test. Anyway, do your thing.
Anyway, but I was going to say, what was it? Oh, these two more things from Halloween, and then we'll table this. But October 31st, 10 a.m.
I got to get.
Something creepy, like.
I don't have the. I can't. These I can't see.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that good?
Yeah. A caller on 21st Avenue reported that somebody rang her doorbell and left a Christmas card on her porch. The cards.
David, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people?
The card said, quote, "He thinks he's God and planning a devil's wedding."
David, I really must say, like, 1-800-Flowers has gotten a little bit dark.
But remember when people used to have to send out like dozens and dozens of Christmas cards back in the 70s and 80s before email and everything? Because imagine if you sent like all the people in the offices, all the people you're trying to do business with, this Christmas card that read, he thinks he's God and planning a devil's wedding.
Yeah, I think you could do that, but then I think, guess what? You'd probably be fired and have no friends.
Yeah,
so
very likely, yeah.
The year after that, it would be quite easy to send out the cards because you ain't got nobody to send to.
But here's the perfect Halloween story. A half hour after that, also in Greeley, Colorado, a caller on 30th Street Road reported finding a
those street road people have problems.
They reported finding a wild rabbit in the road.
Funny.
The caller said the rabbit was alive.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't move.
Yeah.
Even when poked with a stick.
Okay, so if you're alive and you don't move when poked with a stick, you're probably dead.
Well, it could, but worse. What if it isn't? It's just like, oh.
He's got to go to Jesus.
Yeah. But would you, if you saw a rabbit, would you poke a...
So this is a gun story. When we were, when they used to go hunting in Pennsylvania, my German Shepherd, who was docile, brought a rabbit back, and the rabbit wasn't dead, but the rabbit was like chewed in half.
Oh.
They had to shoot the rabbit because it was suffering.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a kind death because he was, gnarled on. I mean, he couldn't. You can't repair like shoot innards.
Actually, no. They could have taken to Hair Club for Men. I'm sorry, that wasn't very by me. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Greeley Crimes and Old Times, ending not a moment too soon.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool. But he is getting that Mr. Greeley was no fool. Yippee-yi, 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 yippee-yi.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream. I think we've been doing some pretty good shows week after week after week, but this one, there's something kind of magical about this one. This one has really, really worked in a lot of ways. Like every segment has just been like so much fun. I hope you agree. I'm making the judgment call, theater critic that I am. I'm saying, yeah, this was a good one. This is really going well. Maybe you think so too. If you do, please tell please tell Popel about this program. Tell them that we're live every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts on this Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. Tell them that they can watch our older shows. For the past 4 years, we've been doing this as kind of a video 3 or 4 years as a video broadcast. All these episodes are saved, and you can watch them for free at our website, davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. So the past 4 years, the videos, they're there. The previous 14 years that we've been on the air when we were just a radio show or an audio podcast, those are there too. We have amazing interviews. I mean, we mentioned just a few moments ago, Tamara Tooney. You want to say, oh, wow, Tamara Tooney was on Dave's Gone By? Yes, she was, a couple of years ago. Can I listen? Sure you can. Go to davesgoneby.com, put Tooney, T-U-N-I-E, in the search box, and she will come up. Or if you were listening and you heard earlier the delightful interview that Rabbi Sol Solomon had with Lenny Schultz, you might say, oh gosh, I would love to share that with somebody. That was really, really fun. But they don't know about this show. They weren't listening this morning. That's okay. You can either direct them to this Facebook page where the episode will be saved immediately after the program airs, or send them anytime after like tomorrow, because it takes time to save the file and stuff. But send them to davesgoneby.com, because the Lenny Schultz interview and this program will be on there, and they can watch it there too. They can also, we have a separate archive of the interviews alone, or you can watch them as part of, or listen to them as part of the whole broadcast. It's all there, thousands of hours of talking, humor, and nonsense right there on davesgoneby.com. We have also archived all of our shows and interviews at archive.org, a nonprofit website with just, I guess at this point, millions of books and radio shows and TV shows from the golden age all the way up till now. They're just trying to be a composite of media and entertainment and publishing that happened in the 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries. It's archive.org, and Deb's Gone By is very happy to be archived there. And finally, if you are someone who prefers to listen, you don't have 3.5 hours to sit and watch in front of a TV, remember that castbox.fm has our audio archives. So even the past 4 years that we've been doing video, we take the audio files and we've been posting them at castbox.fm. We also have our older shows from terrestrial radio on there too, castbox.fm. And by the way, if you live on Long Island, you can, and you get Altice, Cablevision, whatever the hell they call it. We're on public access now too. So if you have weird hours that you keep, and many people in this pandemic might, you can put on your television, if you have that cable subscribership, and at 1 o'clock on Monday morning, right? So everybody, the whole world is sleeping, getting ready for work. But if you're up 1 a.m. on Monday, you can put on channel 20, the public access channel, and watch an hour, just a random hour of Dave's Gone By. We call it the Daverhood, as just to separate it from this particular show. But it's the footage of the show in hour-long bits. So we've been doing that. We're going to keep doing that. It's Mondays at 1 a.m., and then we have a different episode on Tuesdays at 4 a.m. Boy, we get the... After all these years in the business, you figure I could at least get a decent time slot on public access. But no, 1 a.m. on a Monday or 4 a.m. on a Tuesday, you can just throw on channel 20. And it's the same show that you can see complete if you go on the website. But it's just kind of neat that people might happen across it and, there I am on your TV set. Dave's Gone By is this program, and the Daverhood is the show that we're showing on public access, Long Island Altice Cable. Well, we still have a little bitty bit more to do. We still have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and we will get to that in a few minutes. But before then, I know I was chastised by Sherman for the jokes that Mr. Peabody would make, these terrible puns that I've been making off the cuff. But I do more than that, ladies and gentlemen. I actually make bad puns, and I work on them. There's one a week that we've been doing called the Wretched Pun of Destiny, where I actually do the Seinfeld thing. I hone, I craft the verbiage leading up to the unbelievably bad, irritating, horrible, groan-worthy pun, which is why it is a Wretched Pun of Destiny. We do one not every week, but when I come up with a new one, I like to share it with you, my listeners and viewers. The Dave's Gone By, Wretched Pun of Destiny. And this week's pun has to do with something called the kitchen dance. Kitchen dance. After the restaurant closes for the night, the ingredients in the kitchen decide to hold a dance contest. The meats, vegetables, spices, and perishables all group in teams, and they've hired a knife to MC and a fork and spoon to be judges. The contest starts off great, with the frozen peas, carrots, and asparagus doing a fabulous cha-cha. Also excellent are the milk, butter, and cottage cheese, who score high with their slow samba. One after the other, the dance acts impress the judges, until, that is, the last team of the night, yeast, flour, salt, and water. They're terrible. Completely uncoordinated, they bash into each other, fall across the floor, and they make the most idiotic comments. The fork turns to the spoon and whispers, "This is so embarrassing. It's like they're retarded." The spoon replies, "Well, what do you expect? Yeast, flour, salt, water, they're all inbred." here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the Wretched Pun of Destiny. Did I mention, by the way, that you can send your complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. Yes, people still have AOL addresses, and that one is mine, and I will read. I don't necessarily get a chance to respond to everyone, but I will happily read your messages, your suggestions, your comments, your complaints, davesgoneby@aol.com, or feel free to post right here on this Facebook page. If we're friends on Facebook, you can just send me a direct message that nobody else sees, or if you want everybody to see it, feel free to comment on the bottom of this week's show, or just to post on my page. It's Dave's Gone By, as you know, because you're watching right now on Facebook. And by the way, we have a Twitter feed as well. It's Radio Dave 2. Radio Dave, the number 2. Well, we have done so much on this episode of the show. Before we get to our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, though, and close things out, let's just be so grateful. I mean, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, right? So let's take a moment of gratitude out. No, all jokes aside. Well, not all, most jokes aside. I'm always going to make a joke, but very, very grateful to all of you for tuning in, for telling other folks about the show, for sharing the link to the show on Facebook, or joining us in the watch parties. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, for being Daverhoodlums. Davidians, that was the name we came up with. Thank you for being Davidians. Thank you to my wonderful wife, Joyce. She's out of the room at the moment, but she's just amazing what she does, for me all week long and for the program as well. Thank you to Rabbi Sol Solomon for being with us earlier in the show and doing that interview. What a lovely interview with Lenny Schultz. So Rabbi Sol, he's got a website, shalomdammit.com. When I was talking to Richard, I mentioned that Rabbi Sol did a show back when there was theater called Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Sol Solomon. You want to watch it? An early long version of it? It's right on his website, shalomdammit.com. So our episodes that he did for cable television about 10, 15 years ago, it's all there, shalomdammit.com. Plus, he has a Twitter feed as well, at Rabbi Sol Solomon, SOLSOLOMON, at Rabbi Sol Solomon. So yeah, thank you so much to Rabbi Sol. Thank you very, very much to Sharon Renee, and I forget her other last name, but she really was instrumental in being able to get Lenny Schultz on this program, because Lenny, he has a Facebook page, but he doesn't really monitor it. He doesn't bother with it. She's the girlfriend. She's the one who's really doing that behind the scenes stuff and setting up interviews and things like that. And he doesn't do a lot of them at this point, although he certainly should. But thank you to Sharon, and thank you, of course, to Lenny, who is now a friend of the Daverhood, someone who has been on this program. So if he's on further talk shows and we find out about it, we'll gladly let you know. That is what we do when we have friends of the Daverhood. So friends of the Daverhood are people who have been on this program, whether recently or many, many years ago. We like to just keep tabs on them. We think of them as friends and family. What are they up to? For example, I want to let you know that my high school friend and writer friend, Robert Calum, has a new story in I3 magazine. It's in the November-December issue. It's about how car companies are dealing with coronavirus and what they're doing. It's I3 magazine. Look for Robert Calum, C-A-L-E-M. Want to let you know that tonight at 8 o'clock, yes, he's still doing it, Jorma Kaukonen of Hot Tuna, and of course, formerly of Jefferson Airplane. He is doing another concert live on virtually at the Fur Peace Ranch. You can watch it at his page, Jorma Kaukonen, on YouTube. Ben Catcher, this is happening tomorrow. Ben Catcher will be talking about his new book, The Dairy Restaurant, for the Miami Book Fair online. So you're going to want to watch that. Ben Casher, a delightful guest in the Daverhood a couple of months ago. On the 22nd, also tomorrow, at 8 o'clock in the evening, Mike Agranoff is doing a virtual concert. The website for that is neffa.org, neffa.org. I think it's a benefit of some sort. And then on Monday, Richard Skipper, our friend of the Daverhood, interviewing our other friend of the Daverhood, radio veteran Valerie Smaldone. You can see that on Richard Skipper's Facebook page. Let's see what else. We've got on the 25th, which I guess would be, Wednesday? There will be an encore showing of Uda Lemper at Club Cumming. That is online only, clubcummingnyc.com. Jane Siberry has a new single, Some Days Even Lipstick Is a Lie. You can watch that and much of her other music and the other things that she's doing, magicthedog.com. Magic, _the_dog, magicthedog.com. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano, they're doing these duets of popular music on their YouTube page, so definitely go check that out. Check out stagebuddy.com, which was founded by my friend Evan Seplow. Subscribe to drdemento.com to hear Dr. Demento shows from like 1977 or 87, 97, or even the Demento show that he does every week, brand new, drdemento.com. Stuart Brown, soundsofbroadway.com for 24/7 of theater music, if you love musicals. And then, of course, our friend who was just on with us last week, how wonderful to have Bob Cudmore on, his podcast, bobcudmore.com, where he has his interview program, The Historians, that you should really, really check out. I want to remind you that Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake are doing their new podcast called Critics Circle. That is available on YouTube. Our friend Seth Rudetsky and his husband James Wesley are basically the people keeping Broadway alive at the moment with their Stars in the House. And you can watch that, I believe, on Facebook or YouTube or everywhere. And who else do I want to tell you about? In totaltheater.com, remember that you can read the theater reviews or the virtual theater reviews of our friends Ann Siegel in Milwaukee, Mary Shen Barnage in Chicago, and Willard Manis in Los Angeles, all of them for free, totaltheater.com. And then finally, want to let you know that you can, I can say this now, but we have competition on Saturday mornings from 9 until 10. On AM 970, Valerie Smaldone, we just mentioned her, is hosting Bagels and Broadway. So, hey, here's the deal. If you want to listen to her and then watch this show later on or watch us on davesgoneby.com, that's okay too. Watch both of us. But congratulations to all of the friends of the Daverhood. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's just before 12:30 in the afternoon, live on this Saturday, just before Thanksgiving. Very thankful, as I said, for all of you watching, for all the folks who've been on the show, for all the people who helped with the program, all the folks who keep Dave's Gone By going week after week, and for all of you for tolerating some of the stuff that we do on the show, like the Wretched Pun of Destiny, like My Sick Mind, which sometimes crops up, or like our Limerick, once a week, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. I'll explain.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Yes, indeed, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, because Joyce and I lived in Colorado for about 9 years, and I quite loved it there. But while I was there, I took it into my head for no particular reason to write these awful short poems about every different city or little town that I possibly could, where I could think of a 5-line poem where three of the words kind of have to rhyme there. And because it's a limerick, it's got to be a little naughty, a little sick, a little dirty, just for this old brain. Well, this week, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned is dedicated to a town called Guffey. I know you've never, it's real. There's a Guffey, Colorado. Guffey, Guffey. It's in central Colorado, right in the middle of the state. It's 1.5 miles high, so it's actually higher than Greeley, where Joyce and I were living, and even higher than Denver, which is, the mile-high city. It's got a population of about 100 people. It's a place for ancient rocks and fossils, many coming from a volcano that popped there 34 million years ago. Well, in more recent centuries, it has been known for ranching and mining. And go figure. Again, don't know how this happens. I don't know why I wear undershirts that show up under my shirt. I'm sorry about this. But amazingly enough, we mentioned the guy just this week in Indonesia. A meteorite crashed through his tin roof. Well, go figure. In 1907, 2 cowboys in Guffey, Colorado, found a 600-pound meteorite in Guffey. It is now in the Museum of Natural History, although the Denver Science Museum also has a slice of it. This enormous meteorite that 2 cowboys just kind of stumbled across back in 1907. This isn't so wonderful about Guffey. In 2001, a couple of young boys in a paramilitary organization murdered 3 members of a family because they wanted to support a revolution in Guyana. Okay, anyway, Guffey also had an annual 4th of July chicken fly till 2016. That's right. So here's the deal. This is from Wikipedia. Small chickens were released from a velvet-lined mailbox on top of a 10-foot-high platform. Prizes were awarded for the chickens that flew the farthest. Oh, what could go wrong? Oh, why would animal rights activists have a problem with that? They did stop the chicken fly back in 2016, but that was in Guffey. That was, if you wanted a reason to come to Guffey, besides looking for dinosaur bones and meteorite bits, oh, the July chicken fly. Yes. So I think I have very, very good reason for reading a terrible, disgusting, horrible Limerick poem about Guffey, Colorado, to do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. I know a young woman in Guffey whose manner is haughty and huffy. Last week on a whim, I fisted her quim, and now it's discolored and puffy. As I said, you can send your comments and complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com. That's davesgoneby@aol.com. Remember, it's an email address. There's no apostrophe in there. davesgoneby@aol.com, or post your comments right here on this Facebook page. Well, this is bringing us to the finale of the 773rd episode of Dave's Gone By. We've been calling it Go Crazy, Lenny. And what a crazy, wonderful interview that Lenny Schultz did. We thank him one more time for being on the program. Now, speaking of people who will be on upcoming episodes of Dave's Gone By, check out the roster that we have over the next couple of weeks. As I mentioned, next Saturday, right in the middle of the Thanksgiving holiday, raindrops will be falling on our heads, but that doesn't mean our eyes will be turning red, except perhaps with joy and laughter when our guest in the Daverhood will be B.J. Thomas, the singer. I mean, when I first saw that he was out there, he's got a line of candles that he's pitching and marketing that his website has. They're scented candles and special things for the holidays. Okay, fine. And I thought, okay, the raindrops keep falling on my head guy. So he's much more than a one-hit wonder. I didn't even realize that. He had several pop hits. He had some country hits. He's also been done well on the gospel market. If you've ever watched the TV show Growing Pains, he sang on the opening number, like the theme song for that program, for a bunch of years. He's had quite and continues to have quite a career, B.J. Thomas, and he will be talking to Rabbi Sol next week right here on Dave's Gone By. Plus, in the weeks ahead, on December 5th, we have Dr. Susan Horowitz. That should be a lot of fun because I know there's Dr. Susan Horowitz. She writes musicals. She wanders around parks holding a fuzzy toy. I will say no more. But Dr. Susan Horowitz coming on December 5th. And then on December 12th, a return from the Randy Bandit himself, musician and playwright and novelist, I believe, Jim Nabley, will be enabled and coming right on the show with us. And I think he's going to stick around for the quiz too. So yeah, all these fine, fine folks coming to the Daverhood via Zoom. Well, I think B.J. Thomas might just be audio like Lenny Schultz, but in the weeks ahead here on Dave's Gone By. Well, it's 12:36 in the afternoon Eastern time on this cool and sunny day. What a lovely afternoon. So now that you've watched 3.5 hours of this program, you probably need a break like I do. Enjoy the day, enjoy the weekend, wear your mask, distance from people, especially people you dislike. It's a great excuse. Well, no, I can't. I would love to come to your party. I would so happily help you move. But, So, enjoy the good things about this pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, good Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, we will see you next Saturday, November 28th, 2020, for the 774th episode of Dave's Gone By. Until then, only good things for you. Have a safe and delicious Thanksgiving holiday. And, if you really want to celebrate the holiday well, go give a Native American some money. Just walk up to them and say, I'm so sorry for like 200 years ago in this, 200 or 300 years ago, what happened here. Here's $10, buy yourself a turkey. And gone by.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
I'm sorry, I forgot to. Everything went so well. This is our first technical glitch of the show. So I'll say that again. Go hand a Native American some money and say, gone by.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone
See? They work.